The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
The top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Tuesday night, another Industry of Comics episode. This one being the 72nd show of the Industry of Comics. And the whole crew is here with me. Jesse's got internet freezing issues.
Oh, that's not me. Okay, thank God.
No.
I'm like, shit, am I...
That just happened? Okay, I'll be right back.
So, yeah, big week. I was just telling the guys, we have a huge week this week. I'll talk about it throughout the show tonight, but tonight we're going to be talking industry stuff. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about the Superman movie. We've got some other news and notes to talk about. Tomorrow night, we have on Sveta Shabina's artist rep to announce her San Diego variants and what they're going to be doing for San Diego. So all you Sveta Shabina fans that are going to San Diego, don't miss tomorrow night's show. We're also going to have on Josh Blaylock and Pop Mahan to talk about Disavowed, the badass new series from Devil's Due. That kind of is a nice little takeoff, and maybe for all you old school Devil's Due G.I. Joe fans. And then we're also going to announce another San Diego Comic-Con variant for Big Clutch. He's doing a badass Something is Killing the Children variant with Pete Carroll. So what I will say is this. If you guys are Pete Carroll, Art of Carroll fans or Sveta Shabina fans, and you're not going to be able to make it to San Diego, do not miss tomorrow's live show because we will be dropping a link in the live show. We have convinced both Clutch and Sveta to allocate a certain amount of copies for Beyond Wednesday's live viewers as a pre-San Diego sale for the people who aren't able to make it to San Diego. So shout out to everybody that got the Suspiria books from last week, which was very cool. And I think that it started a new thing where for now on, for the first 2 to 3 weeks before San Diego every year, we're going to do a thing where we, if we get the chance, whatever books we can, we're going to do a, special thing for the people that can't make it to San Diego. They'll be able to maybe score a couple of books, pre-San Diego. It's a nice thing for the people that support Beyond Wednesdays, and we appreciate you guys for doing so. So not only that, then we're going to have a big, huge sale on Thursday night for eBay Live. I've got a ton of major keys, variants, signed books. And then on Friday, Stein packs. Everybody that's ready for House of Stein packs, Stein Pack 11 will be available.
This time, Stein Pack goes to 11.
yes. So, we'll.
Why don't you just make Stein Pack 10 again? Yes, but this one goes to 11.
So we're gonna announce Stein Pack 11, and there we'll drop the link for the sales for that. So those will sell out in minutes, like they always do. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun week. San Diego's coming. It's getting close. Emmet, as we're getting closer to San Diego, is it looking like you might show up? What's the deal?
I'm going to show up if hell or high water. It's
listen,
planned on. I'm doing it.
I think
I'm not flying. I'm driving. So.
Oh, you're crazy, bro.
Yeah, man.
You're nuts. You are absolutely
no bueno.
Nuts. Yeah. No, thank you. So I hope you're leaving a week early and making stops.
I am. I'm leaving the Thursday before.
Nice, very nice. So yeah, here's the thing. So I'm leaving that Tuesday. So no Tuesday show for the week of San Diego. Probably no Wednesday show and probably no Saturday show. But
Why?
Because I'll be in San Diego.
I know, but let's just do it from San Diego.
Well, that's the problem, is that I don't know if we'll have the setup to do it from San Diego. You know what I mean? Like,
Tuesday is the best day to do anything at San Diego because nothing started yet.
Yeah. Well, I already have plans Tuesday night. So what we can do is throughout the week, jump on here and there, hang out, do short little, things. If we can do some type of StreamYard thing with our phones, we can, but I'm not gonna bring my PC with me. It's not. I'm not gonna do that. I do have a laptop, but it's a shitty laptop, and I don't know what the Wi-Fi is gonna be like. So we'll test it out.
Do you think anybody has a podcast room there, like somewhere in San Diego? Somebody has to have a podcast room.
I imagine they do, but I'm gonna be
that
honest,
we can
man.
Rent.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think we're gonna have time or the
True.
want to sit down and do a podcast show. We're gonna have San Diego.
Just remember, chat. I wanted to do it. Brian is the one that doesn't want to do it. I wanted to be there for you guys.
If we all were not gonna be there, I would set something up to have the guys who were gonna not be there do the show. But since we're all gonna be there, there's no reason. Yeah, Derek. Derek says,
drag a fiber optic from Phoenix, Brian.
Yeah,
come on,
come
You're
on.
Not thinking hard enough.
Put the PC in the car like the LAN gaming days. Yeah. I am driving, which is nice, but I don't know if I want to bring a PC out there because I don't know if I'll have a cable to plug in, and if I don't have a hard wire, it's kind of pointless. So most likely we're just gonna put everything on hold. But we got enough content each week that I'm sure you guys won't be going through crazy withdrawals. You guys can check out a lot of old content. Maybe I'll get some classic MCM episodes ready from the old school Flipside days, and we'll run some of those or something. But yeah, Lewis says Starlink, baby. Is Starlink even powerful enough to run podcasts?
Not during San Diego.
Not through San Diego, yeah. Yeah, where's Jesse? Jesse and his mouse on a wheel internet. All right. First question for you guys. Are you guys going to see Superman?
100%. Dennis is running a thing. He's running a whole show.
Yes, sir.
I was told I didn't ask early enough.
To rent out a theater.
Yeah.
Dude, not only so I'm not going to be able to rent out the theater for Superman because we didn't have enough time to get everybody together. So we're just renting out 2 rows of the theater. The main theater, because plus we have this giant screen, and if I rent out a theater, we get a 50-seat theater, which is super small. So I kind of want to see this one on the giant screen. But we are renting it for Fantastic Four. But I made this contingent on my Fantastic Four request. I want 4 Galactus head popcorn buckets, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no problem."
Wow.
So I'm going to give one away in the store. We're going to have a giant raffle. And then I'm also going to give away tickets to the movie theater as part of this cross promotion.
I am very friendly with the theater, but it's out an hour away.
Okay. You got to to get the full effect of doing that, you really have to be close to it. I mean, I'm in the same mall, but.
Yeah.
All right. There's Jesse. All right. You're back.
Yep.
Let's see if that
My
works.
computer decided to reboot.
Oh, are we also going to talk about the Superman variant cover that was announced this week?
You're 100% right. We are. But before we do that, Jesse, are you going to see Superman?
Seen a Marlboro DC movie ever. That is a negative Ghost Rider.
See if you
I
have
just watched Maverick and Top Gun on 4th of July. So America.
Jesse, see if you have anything running on your Wi-Fi. You're freezing up still.
Okay.
So Say that again,
Kick off
Jesse.
the guy sitting out front of your shop.
You've never seen a DC or
Nope.
Marvel movie in the theater?
That is a negative. Nope. Never have. I think I've only seen Shannon had me watch Black Panther, and I made it through like the first 5 minutes. I'm like, no, this isn't for me. I'm just not. I do this all day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm lost for words.
Yep. Yeah, I do it all day, and it's the last thing I want to do is watch a Marvel or DC movie. So
that's crazy.
That's just me.
Nuts. I am really looking forward to it even more because my pops hit me up and he's like, Brian, we got to go see Superman the weekend it comes out.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
That's like a sports therapist who's never like seen or participated in a game of sport.
Yes. I agree.
That's
it's
like
weird.
a tattoo artist with no tattoos.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I used to have a rule back in college. Never trust a skinny chef, a sober bartender, or a waitress you don't want to boink.
So what? Now it's someone that hasn't watched a Marvel or DC movie. Is that what you're saying?
You know, I'm just saying, Jesse. I'm just saying. I had a rule in college that's gotten me to this point.
Okay.
And I ate some great food, and I had some really great drinks, and I had some other things, and I watch a lot of Marvel movies. I take that back.
I did watch.
Not even like Superman 78.
American Hero.
Yeah.
That was a television show.
TV show. That was a
TV
show.
That was a TV
What about
show.
Incredible Hulk or Wonder Woman? You didn't watch Wonder Woman?
There was a
TV shows, yes. But
there was
TV
a Ritter,
shows, yes, but not movies.
You never watched Superman 78, Donner?
No.
John Ritter played a superhero in a movie.
Well,
that might be what you're talking about.
Not really.
Not really.
He played like a kick-ass type movie.
Yeah.
Called Local Hero, I think it was called.
Something like that.
You had to have seen Superman, the original Christopher Reeve Superman in the theater.
Nope.
What's wrong? You were a kid.
Brian, I don't think I can go on with this show tonight.
I know, dude. This is crazy. This is nuts to me, man.
It'd be like finding out that Bryan McClay has never done drugs before.
I tell you what, I'll go see Superman in 2 weeks.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Yep. And then I'll come back and do a story.
That's what we're talking about.
What's political in the Superman movie?
I don't think there's anything political in it, right?
That's what Joseph's saying.
No, that's what the interviews are saying. Superman's always been political, and we made our Superman political, or something like that. It's that old trope of like, you know, I like to quote David Lee Roth. One of the best quotes that David Lee Roth ever made. If you want to send a message, use Western Union.
What does that mean?
Nobody's ever heard that?
No.
That's like one of his old quotes, and I always just loved it.
Yeah. David Lee Roth. I don't think I'm taking advice from him.
Yeah, no shit.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Don't you squirt water at me, man. I'm going to fuck your girlfriend.
So
I would never squirt water at David Lee Roth. Period.
Yeah.
Before you ask the actual question, someone asked me about socks. Just so you know, this week, Big Berg socks came out. Space Jam.
Okay.
They're a few years behind.
Whoever's got a wrench in the chat, whoever said something about socks, ban them.
Yep.
I know Brian doesn't like to ban anyone.
And the #1 selling sock of the week, Ace Ventura, has come out.
Sock Detective.
There you go. Yep. Sock Detective.
Okay.
So sock moment of the night.
Here's the question. If Superman does well, can it save the comic book industry?
If Superman does well, Warner Brothers will be sold in a month. To who I don't know, but they'll be gone.
I think the question might be, has any movie saved the comic book industry?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and what movie
Iron
was
Man.
that?
Iron Man, the first Iron
No.
Man.
No. Batman 89.
Batman 89,
No.
yeah.
No, Blade.
What?
Blade. Because
No.
Marvel
I mean,
didn't know
no,
they
these
could
are
make
all
a movie
moments in
till then.
time. These are all moments in time. But talking to the old time retailers, Superman 78 did sell some extra Superman comics, but nothing on the level that when Batman 89 came around, that was the death of the black and white era. That was right when the first crumbles of the black and white era, indie era was starting. But when that came out, that was on the heels of Dark Knight Returns. That was on the heels of Superman John Byrne reboot. But nothing that they had ever seen for those previous 10 years was anything like the release of 89.
Yeah.
So
And-
36 years later, there was nothing in between.
I think Marvel, I honestly think Avengers 1 was a Walking Dead season 2 type moment for my comic shop.
Listen, I'm going to say, I see a lot of people agreeing with you, Emmett, about Blade, but I'm going to say that Iron Man helped save the comic book industry, because I think if Iron Man didn't do well and there wasn't that end credit scene about Thanos, the big, huge part of the second speculation age wouldn't have happened.
Iron Man wasn't Thanos. Iron Man's end credit scene was Nick Fury.
Oh, are you sure?
Again,
I'm positive.
speculation is a bonus for the industry.
So real quick, I'll just run down the 4. Iron Man's end credit scene was Nick Fury. Then Hulk's end credit scene was Tony Stark. Then Captain America's end credit scene was the Tesseract, which then led to the Loki disappearing and then showing up, seeing the Tesseract during Thor. And then Avengers came, and that's when we had Thanos.
Okay.
Thanos was the scene that launched 1,000 ships in my store.
Okay, so then
Everybody wanted Thanos, everything.
Then I'm going to change mine from Iron Man to Avengers. That Avengers movie,
I will 100% agree with you.
yeah, created the second speculation age, in my opinion.
Yes.
Because
No, absolutely.
before then, people were not going crazy for seeing D-list firsts like they did following that.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think the question is, will it save the comic book market, not the comic book industry?
Hey, listen, if the comic book market is on fire, the comic book industry is doing great.
Well, I'll agree with Jesse's assertion on this, that Jesse hasn't finished yet, which is 1,200 comic shops, 500 real comic shops, 77,000 eBay sellers. There's a much bigger uptick from the majority than will be garnered from the minority.
Right.
And I think that's what Jesse's saying.
Yeah,
Whereas I don't think that when you say, when I think comic industry, I think creators, publishers, retailers, customers. Okay. Those 4 tiers. A great Superman movie will see an uptick in DC. It might see an uptick in indies because of, like, oh, hey, we're doing a Superman that's, like The Boys, or like what was Wade's book at Boom? Irredeemable.
There was an Irredeemable.
That was Mark Miller's book, right?
Yeah, no, I was talking more like Irredeemable and that kind of stuff. So you'll get the counter, like, yeah. But I think that would be the comic industry's rebound. But I honestly think that if it's a good movie, the whole comic book community will all see an uptick.
That's what I mean.
But what I've been hearing, and I'm still going to see it anyway because I want to see it. And Guy Gardner is literally my all-time favorite character. I know, shocking. And Nathan Fillion is one of my favorite actors. And my daughter and I just had an hour-long conversation today about Captain Hammer, how even I didn't see Captain Hammer was Guy Gardner when I introduced Captain Hammer to her. And she was like, Dad, he's just like Guy Gardner. I can't believe you didn't see. I'm like, I didn't see it until they announced Nathan Fillion was Green Lantern or Guy Gardner. And then I was like, oh shit. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think the one benefit that comic book stores will have is that we did pre-promote crypto quite a bit. And I think so we have this existing product in the store way before.
I don't know why I can't get a crypto plush. Oh my God, I want crypto plushes.
2 years ago, we had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doing the voice of crypto.
Yep.
And that didn't do shit. That was a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
And now we're going to be saved 2 years later by a live action crypto.
Well,
and how much of this is really going to be crypto?
Here's a lot of it's going to be crypto. I think crypto's the main plot of the film. So
I have sold every single issue of Superman or Action Comics that has crypto on the cover. Every single one. I don't have anything left that has crypto on the cover of the comic.
Wow. Well, speaking of that, there is a little bit of something going on here. Did you guys happen to see this?
Oh, yeah, I saw it. I got tagged in about 5 different posts of it.
Oh, my God, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that is going to be very hard to say is a good thing to stand behind. If you guys didn't know, CGC is doing their first variant. Now,
holy shit.
Yes.
So it's not just a first variant. It's a variant you can only get by submitting a slab to CGC
in San Diego
for grading at San Diego.
And then you are able to buy one.
Yes. And then here's
just one though.
Just one. But wait, it gets better.
But wait, there's more.
Then you can option whether or not you want CGC
to grade
to slab your CGC graded book.
This feels a little bit
you pay them $30 and then they give you a comic that they allow you to pay them another $30 to get graded.
So it doesn't come like this. This is just what you can get.
Yeah.
Right. And if you do, you get the free crypto Superman thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate it, and it'll be huge.
What do you think these will sell for? There's 3,000 copies that we know of.
Did they announce it was 3,000?
Yes.
Because I heard it could have been less.
3,000.
Are they guaranteeing a 9.8?
Well, hold on. What does it say right here? Hold on here.
I heard it was going to be less, like 1,000.
One of 3,000 of the unsigned ones, and then the signed ones.
Signed is probably 1,000.
Is of a they're all 3,000. So
there's 6,000.
No. So the comic is of 3,000.
Yeah, the comic is of 3,000.
But I don't know how. You probably have to pay extra to get him to sign it and do the crossover.
Yeah, you probably have to pay. You probably have to go get him to sign it while he's there. Let's see what it says here. So let's give them a little credit. First exclusive variant comic for CGC, Superman 680, debuting at San Diego. The limited edition features a brand new crypto cover by Dan Mora. Collectors can obtain the variant by making a grading submission. Only 3,000 ungraded copies will be distributed, each eligible for a 1 of 3,000 CGC label. So there you go. Let's see what it says about getting Dan to sign it.
So shouldn't an ungraded one be worth more?
No. Why?
Because everybody else is going to get it graded. You'll have the only ungraded.
No,
copy.
I guarantee you dealers are going to flip this thing immediately on raw.
Oh, you think raw? They're not going to send it in to get it graded?
No, because that takes too much time.
Yeah.
And they're going to want to flip. They want to be first to market and get the most amount of money out of this thing from the FOMO.
Buyers can
150.
Yeah, it says here. No, dude, this is going to be right off the gate. It'll be a $500 book.
No.
There's 3,000.
3,000, Brian.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm
The
not saying you
signed
don't-
ones, the signed ones, I think will be $500 9.8.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting if one came back at 9.6.
Here's my
or
question, though.
9.4.
I wonder if Dan Mora is going to be at their booth.
Well, there's a lot of ifs and buts and candies and nuts. The problem is it's one per person, and how many people are actually going to go there to submit at San Diego to get the one? I could see them still having these things on Sunday.
Oh,
honestly.
yes, totally. I don't think there's going to be 3,000 people that are going to submit.
Right. So if anybody could walk up and give them $30, I mean, pretty much you're just giving them $30 to get one of these.
Yeah. Take any free copy you get, sample, you get it.
Yeah.
Bring it up.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Just to get this. I think this is going to probably be less than 100 raw. It might hit over 100 on the first day or two. But once people realize the gimmick to this,
It'll depend on July 11th.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the movie.
Yep.
Yeah,
If
I think
the movie
it's
is
that.
a smash hit, this will be on fire.
I agree.
I still hate it.
Yeah.
Still hate.
Well, there's
Yeah,
a couple of things here about if the movie is a smash hit, right? If the movie is a smash hit and it happens like everybody's thinking, everybody's saying this is DC and James Gunn setting up their Thanos Avengers stuff, right? You have Darkseid coming, you have the new gods coming, you have Lobos showing up in the Supergirl book, and if you guys know your new god / Lobo lore, there's this one of the greatest stories ever told by DC by comics is a story where Lobos is in the future and he sees the great darkness coming and he brings in the Darkseid and the Thanos stuff. So they said they're bringing in Thanos. There's supposedly a guy playing him already. Darkseid. So if they set up Darkseid in the DCU the way that Snyder was supposed to, and it's done well, holy shit, man! Remember how much any book that had Thanos in it was selling for when that Avengers movie came out? Any book that had a Thanos in it was selling for ridiculous amounts.
Yeah.
I just think that anytime you try to spec on DC, you're flushing money down a toilet.
I wouldn't try to spec on it, but if you're sitting on Darkseid books waiting for him to pop,
Yeah, I think what you got to remember is if you go to Tennessee Con, you have about 100 to 200 flippers there. You're at San Diego Con, you have 10, 15, 20,000 flippers for a book that's only 3,000. So I think that this is a good test market, whether it works or not. I think when they get to New York, they'll try something else. And then when they get back to San Diego, they'll try something else. We're always talking about pivoting. We should not be saying, oh my gosh, CGC is doing this. No, they're pivoting in their world and they want a little bit more of the scraps and good luck to them.
But it does call into question the efficacy of hi, our job is to grade books, and now we are creating a collectible that you can only get from grading books, and we control the entire quantity of those books. And yeah, I just think that there's a weird disconnect.
Oh yeah.
So if they had a retailer do it, you guys would be bitching. Why did that retailer get to do it?
I wouldn't.
No.
I don't give a shit.
I mean,
you shouldn't give a shit about them doing it this way.
They're a grader. That's the problem.
Yeah,
they should. A grader should. That would be like PSA creating their own card set. I don't think anybody'd be cool with that.
Right, and in fact, actually, there's been some skirting of the lines between the card companies and the grading companies that the community completely went after. Wasn't there a card set that came with slabs, Brian?
I don't remember.
But I think it was like they were going to do something with SGC, and then the community found out about it and said, no. And they were like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there definitely was a long time ago, that when card grading was first happening, you could buy a box with a graded card in it.
Yeah.
Well, there was Topps that did a certified slab in there, but it wasn't graded. So
okay.
Yeah, I think if they guaranteed 9/8, then I think that would be the issue. But if they're not guaranteeing 9/8 in that write-up,
we'll have to look at the pop report, because this is going to be one of those questions about how did you have an extra 4 holes in your Ultimate Fallout 4 facsimile get 9 9s and 10s, but not one of your Ultimate Fallout 4's actual books ever got higher than a 9/8.
right?
Derek has a great comment. He says partnerships are one thing, but they should not be in the business of creating collectibles, including when they helped publishers get certain numbers of each grade at a big submission. So, or
invisible comics.
Yeah,
that's a promotion. That's different. You know, it's the same as the promotion that they did with the 9/5s, right? They did a couple of books where they did 9/5s.
Right.
Only for Wizard.
So if it's successful, do they do it again?
Yes.
100%.
Because I'm telling you, they're reaching saturation, and I don't mean total saturation. I'm meaning the books. It's starting to slow.
I think it's
the number of
fairly
books
obvious as well,
slowing down,
because they have a giant predator one aisle away from them that's moving in on their territory that weekend, and that's PSA. PSA will be unveiling their first submissions from the alpha retailers that participated. I'm one of them, all due deference. And they're going to be taking comic submissions at San Diego, one aisle away from CGC's booth. This is a way to try to get more of that market to CGC's booth than the new competitor that's popping up.
Genius.
Yeah, I would be very interested in how many tables they have versus CGC.
Well, CGC has, I think CGC has 2 or 3 booths.
Well, no. CGC at San Diego. CGC is 1, 2, 3, it's 8 rows of 6-foot tables, and then you have the corner.
Yeah, they have the corner. They don't have 8 rows, because that whole row is only.
It's the whole. It's all the way down. It's 8.
Okay. Well,
it's 8.
PSA has at least 6 one aisle over, I guess, parallel to them, one aisle over.
One aisle. Oh, so not in the same aisle.
One aisle over. So if CGC was aisle 1200, they would be aisle 1100.
Okay.
And they have at least 6. Brian, if you remember last year, was it about 6 booths going from the corner back?
I can't remember.
They had basically it was all the red pipe and all.
But are you saying they have comics?
PSA?
Yeah.
No, they're going to have cards and comics.
No, they're not going to be having cards at the con.
They always promote cards at PSA.
At the con?
What were they promoting last year, Brian? They didn't have comics last year.
Well, they're promoting their new slab.
Right, but they also were promoting their cards at Comic-Con, because they were doing huge business in the Marvel cards.
I apologize. I'm thinking that you're saying that they're going to be grading cards at the con. They're not going to be doing
No. That's at the National.
Yeah.
They're going to be accepting comic book submissions at the PSA booth all weekend long at the PSA booth. But last year when they were there, they were promoting cards and the upcoming comic books.
Yeah. I don't remember seeing cards last year, but supposedly
they did accept
them.
cards last year.
Yeah. So maybe they're accepting cards this year. Did they accept sports cards last year? That's another question. Because if they did, I'll take some in. Shit. They're going to be accepting.
Save the shipping.
Look. PSA, SDC.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting. I think competition makes you stronger, but in San Diego Comic-Con, it's marketing and promo promotion is what you're trying to build. So I think what they're going to have to distinguish is what is the big difference between them and CGC. That will be the interesting part.
End of show grading.
Show grading.
Available
Oh, wow.
July 23rd to 24th for comic
Guess I'm going to have to bring some comic books.
Only at high value service or above.
I got a Walking Dead #1 that definitely wants to see itself slabbed. Hey, is Hood bringing his press?
Have press will travel.
Yeah, Hood, bring a press. Ooh, I hope that's my I hope that's my Spider-Man 300 that I submitted.
And a 9.4? You better hope not.
I submitted some lower grade ones.
What? Really?
I submitted a couple like 8.5 and 9.0s that I submitted for a crack and press from them. Because I disagreed with the low grade.
When do you expect to get your books?
We're working on that now because we might be having PSA take them to San Diego to unveil them at the booth.
Yeah, that'll be a big deal.
Yeah.
So
we're working with their PR department.
So how do you create value with PSA if nothing is going to be online till San Diego?
What do you mean?
So if no one's going to have the books yet, so you've established no pricing, how it's comparable or anything like that. Do you foresee it ticking 10, 12, 14 days after you get your books and actually start selling them?
No, so here's the thing. I've been working out a formula of what I'm going to look at. So what I did, and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. So right now in the market, a common card that goes for 100 raw, if you get a PSA 9 out of that common card, it's usually the same as the raw price or about 20% higher than the raw price.
You got it.
Yep.
Okay. So what I am doing is I'm trying to extrapolate what the formula that I'm going to use is. So if a raw price and a PSA 9 price are roughly equivalent, maybe, 0 to 20% increase, I'm going to take and extrapolate what a 9.2, if PSA has a 9.2. We haven't really been told what a 9.4, what a 9.6, and what a 9.8 is. Now, I'm going to take that 9.8 and put it up against the CGC 9.8, and I'm going to add an extra 20% to that, if not a little bit more. But a 10, I am going to put at a very high X of what a PSA 9 or a CGC 9.8 is, equivalent to the difference between a 9 and a 10 in the card world. Because like I said, I think the PSA market is actually going to be those card people who want to get into comic books.
So are they going to mark them alpha?
What's alpha
question?
You're in the alpha.
No, I think it's just going to be, hey, these are the first ones. So when they get the pop report, these will just be the first ones in the pop report.
So something interesting about that, back when grading cards first started, there was a grading company called CGI. Was it CGI?
Yep.
And that's who initially graded unopened product. Okay. So when I bought my Walter Payton cello pack unopened, it was a CGI graded, and I crossed it over to PSA.
I know where you live, Brian.
I ended up buying a collection. Might have been from Jesse. It might have been coming the collection I picked up from Jesse that one time, where there was a ton of those CGI cards, but they all have a thing on it that says first graded.
Wow.
So they were the
that
first
would be awesome.
cards. Yeah, they are the first cards graded by that company. You know, like I have a Thurman Thomas Pro Set rookie. It says first graded. I have a Mickey Mantle promo card that says first graded. I have a couple other cards that say first graded on them. They're not high grades. You could tell at that time people were just sending any cards they could to get graded.
It was cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap back then.
Yeah.
Right. So,
sorry. Go ahead, Jesse.
Are they going to? When will their census come out? Will that be way down the road?
I think it's going to be right off the get, because when I was using their portal to submit these books, they already had sample, like if I were to type in like Uncanny X-Men 266, and it would have the differential like newsstand, direct, Canadian, you know, that kind of thing. So they already have they already have the titles for the population already generated.
Okay.
And I was shocked at a few of the books that they actually already had in that system. So I don't know where they were cultivating that, but that was definitely something that was already in their system.
Interesting.
So I want to just throw out one more thing about the Can Superman Save the Comic Industry? 5 years ago, when a young Dennis Barger was watching Tales from the Flip Side, and everybody was going crazy for Iron Man 7, the first appearances of Riri Williams. Don't always count on your speculations before they hatch, because those books are in the toilet right now.
Yeah. Look at that variant, the Avenger Age of Apocalypse variant.
Well, I'd be surprised if they don't have a second season. It was left pretty big cliffhanger, and it's quite possible that the guy Parker will end up being Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Right. But I think what we need to kind of go back on is throughout history of comic book movies, comic book stores technically only see about 5% bump in sales, and that only lasts about 7 to 10 days, and then we're really back to normal. So a movie cycle isn't really that long in an actual comic book store. Now, secondary market, it lasts longer, but in a comic book store, it's a lot different on how a movie moves the needle.
Well, and I'll tell you the perfect example of that was, you know, Brian, when Brian said Iron Man was a needle mover, but didn't understand that it was actually Avengers that was the needle mover. Iron Man came out the exact same summer as this little movie called The Dark Knight.
Yep.
And DC had one thing for retailers to capitalize off of, and that was that Brian Azzarello Joker hardcover. Now, we sold it to every single Dark Knight fan that came in. Heath Ledger was huge because he passed away before the movie. Everybody was raving about his performance, but we had one thing to capitalize other than, hey, here's the greatest Joker stories ever told. And over here is this book that had the Joker in it a year ago. And, you know, they were unprepared or weren't allowed by their corporate masters to help retailers capitalize off it. You have to have the product to be able to utilize it if it's successful. Now, I mean, you got the Golden Milkbone Action Comics reprint. You got, you know, a bunch of different crypto things.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Marvel's milking the hell out of, I mean, this was the ultimate no-brainer that somebody in my store said, why doesn't Absolute Superman have a crypto in it?
Great
it's
question.
their number one selling Superman title right now, and there's no Absolute crypto.
That's a great question.
I'm just saying, I don't think that there's anybody over there that everybody wants to try to cash in on what this movie is, but they're not putting the resources at the stores to cash in.
Yeah, but I think that's been with everything, just about everything we've had. Even the Joker conversation is, okay, well, yeah, that's a kind of an afterthought. I think when it comes to animals, it's a different mammal that comic book stores just aren't prepared for. Distributors just aren't prepared for. Yes, you're going to see a ton of stuff in Target, Walmart, everywhere that we
Five
just
Below.
won't have access. Five
We
Below.
won't-
We
right.
will not have access to at all unless we go pay full retail and then have to bump it up from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Different. I think this is a different mammal that we are dealing with in this particular case, because I think a lot of people won't tie crypto to a comic book store. They'll tie it into I can go to Target or Walmart and all these other places because they'll be able to market to me.
I'm sure there's a
McFarlane
giant.
McFarlane's in Walmart doing his stacking the shelf of DC movie toys. He did a little ad for them. It's not on television, it's on Instagram or whatever, but he's packing the shelves with all the, and then he calls out, like, they've been trying to keep the villain secret. I mean, it's out now, but like he just called it out right on the Instagram, because he has the toy named.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So we'll see.
Ultraman.
That's
Yeah.
Spoiler
You know
alert.
you know who's going to save the industry for comic book stores? Freaking comic book stores. Get off your asses and freaking stop bitching about every freaking thing that freaking comes out. I know you didn't get to it, but I do think that we might have to go to unfiltered on it.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to ask the question.
I got the perfect person to talk to because he messaged me. You guys want to invite him on?
Yeah, you can bring him on if you want. If he's able to come on tonight, no other worries. But here's my question: if the film tanks, will it hurt the comic book industry?
Nope.
Well,
Look, I'll say no, because since I've opened a store, we had Superman Returns with Brandon Roush. We had Man of Steel. We had Superman versus Batman. And now we have Gun of Steel.
Well, but was the comic book industry in dire straits at those times?
I think comic book industry is in a great place.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they've ever been.
I don't think the industry is. I think comic books are like back issue comics sell great. But do you really think that the comics books industry is in a great place without the distributors, with losing Diamond, with
not right now?
That's what I'm saying. Right now.
Yeah, right now. I think DC is producing some of the best books they've produced in 5 years.
What are the print runs?
Well,
what is the readership, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. It's dead. The readership is dead.
I think that the speculators are holding off and are I wouldn't say dead, but they have slowed, which makes the market look like it's slowed. I think readership has actually gone up. At least that's what I sell new books. I have 5 new subscribers, and I have a lot of people buying more books than they used to buy of new books.
And I concur. Listen, I've only had the doors open for about 8 days, and I will tell you 90%, maybe 95% have asked me to do a pull box. So I would.
What though? What are they asking for?
But I think what the question is when I did a pull box 5 years ago, I knew that about 40% were flippers ordering stuff. I think the percentage of readers is higher that's ordering it, and not a lot of flippers that are ordering new issues. And I think that's the difference nowadays. So if you kind of go by turn rate, sell-throughs, quantities, how many stores are out there? I don't think it's a distribution issue other than one publisher itself. So I think readership is up if you go by the basic measures of turn rates by far. But that might not equal the numbers that we've always been at, because you did have a massive amount of flippers come in through COVID.
Yeah. And speculators force readers out of the community.
Well, I think
they're great as an extra sprinkle, but when they're buying up all the books.
Yeah, I don't think that happens in Marvel and DC. I think that happens when a Black Mask Cool #1 comes out or Image #1 comes out. I don't think that happens too much in Marvel and DC.
Well, we have somebody that we're going to bring on here in a second here. I'm just letting him know we see him and he's backstage. We're going to bring him on because we're getting ready to get into some more industry talk. And I'm just going to say this. I think that to say that the industry is in a good place when we're talking about losing multiple publishers, multiple, creators are worried about not being able to do their work anymore. I don't think to say the industry is in a good place. I think that selling back issues and selling collectibles is not in a bad place, but I think the industry is like
here's where I
on
disagree.
Life support.
Yeah, here's where I disagree 10,000%. If you add crowdfunding to this mix, the industry is doing freaking rock star. But you gotta add that to it.
Yeah.
But that's not considered the industry.
Artists
That's
and
the
writers
problem.
are very bad at business. They're creatives.
Well, they
and-
shouldn't be in business. So that's the problem with crowdfunding, right?
The #3 publisher in this industry, the primary industry, just laid off a ton of employees.
Yep.
Yeah, Image, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They laid off 6 employees. Do you know how many employees?
I thought there was more. I thought there was more.
There's only 6. Only 6 announced.
I know there's one I'd really like them to lay off.
Well,
Yeah,
before
yeah,
we get into Unfiltered, let's bring in our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, Phil Russert from Philbo Comics. Phil, how you doing, my brother?
Hey guys, thanks for having me back on. How are you?
Doing good, man. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys didn't know, this was kind of cool. On the 1st, you guys dropped a nice little image for your first Phil views. I love this, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I decided to get a little clever and not get sued. So, previews is technically a word in dictionary, so I don't think they'd have any. But with everything going on, I wouldn't put past it. It
would be the font. It would be the font.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to catch a case right now.
I know. Yeah. I have to say, I agree with both Brian and Jesse, but for different reasons. The industry is really struggling right now and suffering. But I think that's a good thing because change never comes until things get uncomfortable. Yeah. And I think that we needed Diamond or something, not that I'm wishing the departure of Diamond or anything, but we needed something big to get people's heads out of the sands because we were so busy trying to deny what was going on with readership, etc., that we were just compounding it. And an example of where I think Jesse's right, there are more readers is, and again, I'm not wishing anybody's business a demise, you're seeing a lot of these retail variant cover guys not doing as well as they used to.
Yes.
And that means that people are looking to invest in books, not collectability at this point in stories. Again, I'm not happy about anybody's business not doing well, but it is a sign of the times kind of correcting a little. And let's face it, man, everything's cyclical. It's course correcting, and we needed a shakeup for people to get their heads out of their ass.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that is true. I think that we were kind of, listen, we were talking about it before the show about, everything that's going on right now. And, we're continuing to hear things come out of the Diamond debacle with AdPop and everything going on with AdPop right now, which is, again, more reason for me to think that it's not in a good place. But can it be in a good place in the future? And I think, yes, that is the case. If we start doing the things like these guys brought up. Jesse, I agree with you. I think that crowdfunding needs to be considered a marker in the industry, right? I think that's a huge thing, and we need to look at it that way. At the same time, we need that, if we look at it that way, that means a lot of people will think it's okay to take part in that crowdfunding, right? So that's a big thing.
But Brian here, and I'll only throw up a devil's advocate, counterpoint to that, which is in the record industry, nobody counts. What's that band that you got the cassette of that they used to sell out of their trunk?
Linkin Park.
Okay. That is never going to be on the Billboard Top 100.
Yeah.
As long as you're selling out of your trunk, you're never going to be on the Billboard Top.
You're right.
If you have a download, on your own website that doesn't go through whatever the sales channels are, you're not going to be on the Billboard Top 100. Okay. You've got to be in the industry to get counted in the industry. And I honestly, and I know, but I'm saying when you're selling direct from the customer, your product straight to the customer, I totally respect you. I totally support you. I totally think you're the smartest person in the fucking room. But I don't think those numbers go into an industry where you're not represented by a publisher. You're not going through a distributor. You're not going through a retailer. You've bypassed the whole system.
Not circulating in the industry.
That's completely asinine. Devil's advocate.
It's asinine. How is it asinine?
It's at least asinine.
Are you not the publisher? Are you not the retailer? You're all three when you do a Kickstarter and a crowdfunding. What's wrong with someone doing it all themselves? I don't think there's a problem there doing it themselves. The issue is this: you can't take wholesale numbers versus real numbers and then put it in a category. It will never match. It will never equal. The other thing is the books that Phil might be selling are $5 books. The state is paying $25 for the same pages, the same count, and anything on the crowdfunding. So you can't match it. That's the problem.
Another problem with crowdfunding is for so long it's been the only avenue of quote unquote distribution for small guys. It's oversaturated now to the point where anybody and his mother can do a comic, whether it's good or not. But also the big published Skybound had those big campaigns, Dynamite. They're now crowdfunding, and that's taking a large pie from the little guy. So the little guy's not having any other outlet but crowdfunding until now. It was hurting. It was keeping them from being part of the industry and circulating that money in the industry. Because let's face it, if you're making $2,000 on a campaign, but after you're shipping and everything, that you're actually losing money, that's not circulating economy in the industry. It is for the big publishers, but it's no longer for the little guys. And I think when crowdfunding was the only outlet for them, and then it was starting to get taken over by guys who already have direct market, those guys were getting squeezed out. I think that's one of the reasons why you can't really count them in the industry, in the circulating economy. But again, with new distribution on board, I think you'll start pulling them over there and tying in the crowdfunding with the industry as well. Because while I'm going to have these little guys in my distribution, they will still be crowdfunding. So that I think that ties the whole network of the circulating economy together.
Yeah.
Oh, by far. And I think those people doing crowdfunding that are just doing distribution through your company you should be actually doing the shipping for them for their crowdfunding. The notion is that a creator's best job is to create and not to ship. Every book he ships means he's losing money, not creating.
Right. Yep. I agree. And they don't want to do it. They don't have the mindset for it. They don't even have the mindset to market themselves.
That's why a whole other business is cropped out of people fulfilling for creators. So they make the product, they hand it off, they start the Kickstarter, and then they hand it off to somebody to do all the fulfilling for them.
But we do have to be careful because the middleman is what's kind of started to take all the money away from the right people. And the more we put that middleman in that place, the less the creators are getting money, because now 20% is going to some guy to ship their books for them.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful in how we use that middleman and what that middleman is taking and providing as a service, because the middlemen, I think, have really hurt the industry because they're taking all the money while the creators and the stores are closing.
Well, here's an interesting thing about that, though, because what I'm starting to hear from retailers and out there is that they're getting tired of the fact that they can't be the middleman for the creator anymore like they used to. And what I mean by that is you used to have the retailers that had a LCS or a comic shop that would give a creator the ability to come into their comic shop, use their customers as a place to sign books, make some money, this and that, and do retailer exclusives through them. Now creators don't have to do that anymore. They can do their exclusives themselves, a la J. Scott Campbell, Scotty Young. These creators are creating their own websites anymore, and now they're a retailer as well as the creator, and they're and so you can kind of consider the retailer kind of like a middleman, between the creator and the buyer. Does that make sense?
But the difference there is that retailer acting as a middleman is still helping the industry as a whole, not just the retailer. Because like he's making money, the artist is making money, the public is coming into the store, enjoying buying other things, other published books. When Jesse has that signing the other day, they come in, they enjoy the signing. Jesse makes some money, but they're also buying books from the smaller guys, the bigger guys, maybe buying some of the collectibles he has. So that's why I say we have to be careful with what middleman we're talking about, because sometimes the middleman is useful and helps the industry, and sometimes he's just grifting and picking the meat off the bones.
And that's where I say, Brian, is the retailer is the only one in that middleman area that actually has skin in the game. And as Jesse and I and Emmet know, we have a lease, we have a sign, we have to have a constant rotating inventory. We are the person who should be more trusted than Kickstarter.
Yeah, I got you.
If
you don't have skin in the game, that's always the thing, I'm not.
But I do have to say, stores who are upset with Kickstarter have to take a good look at themselves, though, because they won't support those books that Kickstarter is their only way to get on there. If you don't get on board and support the quote-unquote back of the catalog, then you can't get mad that these guys are going to Kickstarter and cutting you out.
Exactly.
Great point. That is a great point. Excellent point.
And as we talk, go ahead, Justin.
No, I was just saying, we are a business of great opportunity, and our opportunity is through relationships. And if you build these relationships, listen, Brian does these great Kickstarters. He does awesome, and he does great, and he does this. Well, guess who just had an exclusive with Brian? Sold out of all 100 copies. Why? Because
you're supposed to save me one.
Oh, well, I'll ask someone. At the end of the day, you can't sit in your chair and hope that Brian Polito calls you up and says, "Oh my gosh, dude, what do you think about doing an exclusive for Lady Death?" We have to get out there and look at the opportunities and never say, well, they're doing a Kickstarter and then they got their own line, so they won't want to do anything with me. You need to build those relationships. Listen, I did the shipping for Stan Sakai. All right. And guess who paid me? It wasn't Stan Sakai who paid me. It was the people that paid the shipping and the $1.50 they added for each package for me to ship. So there are ways to keep that skin on the bone for that creator, so he's not paying that middleman. But that's how you got to discuss it. You go in and say, this is what I want to do. You do that. Let's make sure that it makes sense all around, so no one's losing money. You go, I'm not going to take money off the bone, because that's what you're going to get from the consumer when they pay shipping, and it all equals out.
And I guarantee you, most of those small guys on Kickstarter would love to have a relationship with retailers. Period. I would be baffled and surprised if they didn't, because they know damn well that you're hamstering a wheel in an echo chamber in crowdfunding right now. Retailers are the way to get out there to everyone. Period. You are the last line and first line of defense. Both.
Well, let's talk about that, though, because retailers are the most superstitious bunch of shoot themselves in the foots that I've ever met in an industry.
You gotta go to Unfiltered, because I'm
all right. Let's get it. Let's get it.
I'm ready to go at
You always listen to this.
Valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
All right. There just went our monetization for this episode, but it's worth it when we can get into Unfiltered. Yeah. All right. Where were we?
Dennis, you finish off.
Well, no, I sat there and I read Phil's email blast. It's what a Q&A or whatever they call it.
Kind of,
Q&A.
yeah.
And I heard every retailer's voice in the retailer who I think said each one of these things to you. And they don't understand it, man. They just, they'll cut their nose off to spite their face.
I want to make this clear before I get into my rant, because it always becomes a rant because I'm a hot-headed Irishman. I understand businesses, you've lasted 30, 40 years. I'm not questioning your intelligence, your ability to run a business, and I'm certainly not telling you how to run your business. And God bless you. Keep going. You do what you have to do. Having said that, that doesn't mean that you're not missing an opportunity. You're not missing a chance of something new that could make you more money because you're clutching pearls and you're sticking to old ways and you're concerned. It's called back of the catalog because nobody ever put it to the front of the catalog. And I was in Plan C Distribution on Facebook, and someone posted Philbo, and the usual suspects, I won't name them, came in with their critiques.
Brian Hibbs.
So anyway, they came in, and by the way, I don't mind criticism, but just don't come at me telling me how, like, there's a condescending telling me how to run a business way, and then there's, hey, I was just thinking, this might help you or whatever. So I always take criticism well. I don't take condescension well. And that's, don't tell me how to run my business. I won't know how to tell yours. But anyway, having said that, going on my rant, the person made a comparison to me and Marvel and DC and Lunar and everybody. And I said, listen, you are admitting in the first sentence you're not going to order many books or give them a try, but you wanted a 50 to 60% discount. I politely explained to this person that you're comparing apples to oranges, and you're admittingly doing so. And then I told them, Lunar only gives you 35%. So I'm already beating them by 5%, and they have DC. Yeah. And the individual said, what are you talking about? Where do you get 35%? That's only if you order less than $1,000 a week. Are you ordering $1,000 a week from me? I mean, I'll be happy to give you 50% if you want to do that. I'll give you 60% if you want to order $1,000 a week from all my publishers. But we have to be realistic here. No business every business works on bulk pricing. You don't get the break just because you want the break. You get it because you buy in bulk, and we're both succeeding. That's the first thing. Yep. And this, to me, is a grifter mentality. It's just get mine and move on. It's not, look, if you're not interested, I respect that. Move on. We'll earn your trust. We'll show you can sell, and you can come on board. We'll welcome you with open arms. But don't come in my emails preaching to me, and you're comparing me, and you're not even making sense. And then the person said, and I explained to them what a print cost is for us indies and what we go through. We're lucky if you walk away with 20 cents, and you're complaining that you're getting $2 instead of $2.48. I said, and I'm thinking, if that 48 cents makes that big a deal to your business, you need to change your model, because that's just absurd.
Yeah, but here's
I'm sorry, real quick, Dennis.
Yeah.
They will venture into Pokemon and board games and action figures and all this collectible crap, but they won't dare venture into an indie book. Make it make sense to me, please. Please.
But here's what you're missing the point in that whole statement that I don't know if you knew this or not. 6 years ago, the max discount at Diamond was 50%, 53 if you were a huge account. Yeah. Okay. Everything below that trickled down to a lower percent. There were publishers that only gave you a top tier discount of 45%. That was your Dark Horses, your IDWs. I think IDW, when they went into FOC, moved up to 50%, but that you had to order a certain level to get there.
Right.
But there were publishers that only had 35 to 40% in Diamond when there was a monopoly.
And I think Image currently is 40% at Lunar.
And by the way, when Diamond lost all the big accounts and they were just doing the indie guys, how did they fare with a low percentage?
Yeah, they went out of business.
Yeah. So exactly. So I try not to get angry. I shouldn't. I need to be professional. But it's frustrating because if you're going to come at me with logic and reasoning. It just seemed to me they were just trying to get one over on me. And I'm not stupid.
Right.
I'm not stupid. And the other thing is they complain about the prepay. I want to explain about prepay.
Dude, before you explain prepay,
Yeah.
I need to jump in here. I gave you guys 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
need to jump in. At some point, the comic book world has to jump in. The LCS store needs to jump in and understand we are a unique business that does nothing like the regular world does at all. If I go to you in any other business and you tell me what the discount is, we're done. That's the discount. We don't get there and say, well, no, I got to get it. No, you don't go to Nike and say, well, you mean you're only giving me 27.5. I have to have 30. That doesn't work that way. You know what they do? They hang the fuck up and they say, go get your socks from Ike because they can't afford the end, right? So at the end of the day, these retailers need to understand this is an opportunity to get product. And the best way to solve the issue is to buy the product, sell out of the product, and buy more product. And eventually you're buying more product so Phil can get to that 50%.
Is Jesse
ratio.
frozen for everybody or just me?
End of the day, stop bitching and sell some books, support the community, support the distributors, and stop with this baby ass crap. I got text all day about this. I'm like, this is stupid to think that we still think, I feel stupid. Emmet feels stupid that we were paying our invoices at Diamond.
Yes.
And no one else was paying their freaking invoices. These people bitching are probably the guys that didn't pay Diamond their invoices.
Yeah.
Okay, enough.
All
They're
right.
mad because they're not getting books for free anymore.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, I really want to see the list of who owed Diamond on January 12th.
I wish.
Oh, and that's
Because I guarantee you several of the people that are bitching that you want prepay are on that list.
I'm so glad you said that. But real quick, John Horn said for every good indie book, there's 10, 20, 30 terrible ones. I mean, that's subjective and it may be true. But let me ask you, Marvel and DC, how many good ones do you see there these days? I mean, I don't know. It's all subjective.
No, great
But
point.
anyway, so prepay. Yes, Dennis, you said it best. Most people are fine with the prepay. The people that aren't are the ones I think are the ones that never paid their invoices. Now, here's the deal. Here's why prepay is good. First of all, one of the store owners, I won't name them, he said, and he wasn't disrespectful. He was just claiming, putting out what he was upset with. He said, prepaying is tying up our capital before we get the product. Well, last time I checked, if you worked at you owned a restaurant, you went to Restaurant Depot, you didn't just get to pull all your shit out, go to the store, put all your shelving up, get all your supplies, get all your stuff and say, I'll pay you later. It doesn't work that way. It did in the comics industry. That didn't work out very well for the distributor, and I don't plan on following Diamond's suit. Now, we're indie. We're not Marvel and DC. What's to say I ship those books to you and you go, it was a bad week. My daughter needed braces. I don't really need these books. Phil, you either got to give me a credit, you got to take the books back. And don't tell me that they're not going to do that. Now I screwed the publishers that are trusting me. I'm screwed because now I'm in a position of I can't lose the shipping. I got to leave the books there and trust and invoice them later, which means I got to pay payroll to stay on them and keep invoicing them later. Right? It doesn't work that way. And the other thing is, if you prepay, you have 60 days to pay. That means if you're having a bad week, a bad month, you're in control of your finances. You could say, I'll put it in my cart, save my books, and I'll pay next week instead. How many people pay their bills on time and we're still getting invoices from Diamond saying you owe money? And they're like, for what? I paid all my bills. What is this for? And they don't itemize it. They go, you look in your books and you find out. Well, I'm avoiding all that. You know what the shipping was. You know what the price of the books were. You paid everything. You get your books, and there's no added bullshit. There's no extra problems.
Yeah. Without naming any names, Phil, but you can tell me later when we're not on the air. How many of the people who have signed up to be distributed by you got screwed with Diamond, got screwed because Diamond trusted a bunch of retailers that screwed Diamond and had to go bankrupt?
You talking about the publishers?
The publishers.
Most of them.
Right.
Most of them were screwed by Diamond royally. Zenoscope and Devil's Due got screwed worse than anybody else.
I said without naming names.
But no, screw it.
It's
But
out
that's
there.
why I
Yeah,
had to put them in my
it is there.
September FOC. They're
Yeah.
in with my October FOC, release
Yeah.
FOC, because I was trying to help them out because they got royally screwed. There's guys that lost 4,000 books, $13,000 worth of that they were owed by Diamond. Yeah, what I'm doing is ensuring trust for both of us.
Right.
You know that first of all, there's no way I'm not shipping your product because then I'm going to have lawsuits by all these publishers because I'm a little guy. It's easy to come after me. My own publishing company goes to shit and my distribution goes to shit. Why did I start all this to do that and then hold on to 5,000 indie books that I can't do anything with? I mean, it's just, it would be absurd to think I'm not going to fulfill these orders.
If you're in business and you don't have $1,000 cash flow a week, close your fucking door.
Well, and
Close your door.
it's
And again, here's 33 million. I'm going to give you 33 million reasons why you have to be prepaid. I want you to call Southern Hobby right now and
That's right.
order $10,000 in Pokemon and tell them you're then pay them 7 days later.
yeah.
This does not
It
work
doesn't ship
this
until
way.
the check clears.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, and it's not just that. I posted that video back in February or January about who killed Diamond, and it was the $33 million owed by retailers.
100%.
And the comment section of that video is like, what are you fucking idiots doing? You have to collect the money from the customer. If the customer screws you on the polls, that's on you. The normal person looks at that situation and says, that's on you extending the credit that you got extended.
Right, exactly.
To the customer.
If I walked up to Blake Nordstrom and said, "Oh my gosh, we're in trouble because clients did not pay 33 million," he wouldn't even mention them.
Right.
He would say, "All right, you're fired because you allowed this to happen." And so Phil has to understand that he is responsible to get this money paid on behalf of these distributors.
Yes.
So
These
it's
publishers,
not the problem is it shouldn't even be a conversation. You shouldn't have to put this out. And I'm amazed that people needed clarity on prepay. That's mind-boggling to me.
Well, we just saw a recent example of a publisher not saying that they were not going to be able to pay payroll because they were owed $1.3 million from Diamond. Like, that's a big publisher. That's a lot of money. And then we had Ben Dunn from Antarctic Press saying $30,000, which is a lot of money to Antarctic Press. So
then we had Josh Blaylock on last week.
Yes. And both of those guys, Ben and Josh, are with me now.
Yeah. Which is
I
amazing.
won't get screwed again.
And that's the thing is, I will always have a lot to learn about things. I don't know everything, and a smart man understands he doesn't know everything. But that's the point. I'm a smart man. I'm not stupid. I didn't just start a lemonade stand on my lawn. I started distribution when nobody else would, and I'm not doing that to pat myself on the back. I'm just saying I'm not going to be bullied by stores who think that they should be picking the bones off my carcass. Because as Jesse said, I take it very serious that the publishers have invested in me. And it's not just me on the line. Because if it was just me, it would be just my publishing company, so be it. But every decision I make, the weight of on my shoulders is of every publisher that is investing in me and on that damn catalog. And I'm not going to screw them. I'm not.
Well, let's talk about that. Yeah.
I was going to say, how many pre-orders? You just launched Phil Views. It's a little hard to say, but you just launched Phil Views. And how many initial orders are you getting in through this?
So that's the thing. We didn't get a lot yet. We only have about 20 something. But here's the thing. Of those 20 something, they have all ordered several $100s worth of product and over a good amount of 20 publishers. Nice. It wasn't just Zenoscope or Devil's Due. They bought 4 of Philbo, 5 of this one, 6 of Dren, So it was a real interest in what's going on. And we've had a shit ton of signups over the week. Now, we launched on a holiday week. which I think, is one of the reasons it's slow. The other is we're new. I think people are kind of just checking us out, waiting in the rafters a little bit. It's also early in a 60-day window to prepay. So I think they're taking the time. They're looking through the catalog. They're trying to make wise decisions. So I anticipate a larger order influx, probably starting in like the third week of the order window. But I'm getting a lot of great, despite the curmudgeons that we're talking about, that's honestly a very small percentage of what I've been getting as feedback. I mean, maybe people are silent because they feel the same way, but they just don't feel the need to lecture me on it. But a lot of people have called me, retailers, telling me how the website's easy to navigate. They love being able to see full graphics on everything and look through it cleanly. How I've been responding to them. They actually prefer the prepay for the reasons we said, and they like the customer friendly that I've been. I've answered every phone call, every email. I've had people that, for whatever reason, they have trouble signing up. I'm helping them. I'm getting them on the phone and walking through it. I had someone say to me today, 33 years in the business, wonderful things to say. And he said to me, how can you do this customer service when you're running the business? I said, at some point I'll have to hand it off. But if you're going to invest in me as a new business, shouldn't I be investing in you? You should be speaking to me. I should be the one that you get to talk to. Shouldn't you know who the hell I am?
Yes.
Because I'm the one collecting your money every month.
Yeah.
I'm the one you're relying on to ship your books. So I want you to know me, and I want you to trust me, and I want you to develop a relationship with me. I don't want to make money off you. I want to make it with you.
Hell yeah.
There was a point 35, 40 years ago where you picked up the phone and you talked to Steve Jeppy when you were ordering your comics.
Right. I think it's important. You should, if I'm going to be asking you for your money every month and you to invest and rely and take a chance at some of these books, I damn well should get on the phone and talk to you. Damn right I should. Yeah. And I will.
Yeah. And I've done corporate and I've done this all. So Phil, what I would give you advice on is exactly what you said, and not worry about putting out emails like you did. I
just wanted to put out the one and explain it, because these are the guys that are purposely trying to down the whole thing. They can't just move on. They're going in Facebook groups and everything and trying to make it look
like they go and all that. What you want to do is you want to focus on exactly what that passion you just had needs to be spent on the people from you. People that aren't going to buy from you, I don't care if you told that guy he's going to get 50%. He still ain't ordering from you.
Oh, by the way, he has an account. He's just watching me right now.
Yeah, so probably is, whatever.
And I'll tell you, there's one retailer, and shout out to Dave Hawksworth, rest in peace. The diamond outside sales rep who used to travel around the Midwest and visit all the comic shops. And one day I accidentally prefaced myself by mentioning another retailer and said, well, I mean, I'm not ordering like this person. And he's like, whoa, hold on. How many comics do you think he orders? And I'm like, he's got to order 10x what I'm ordering. He goes, you order 3x what he orders. And this was a retailer who I thought was like, oh my God, he must be ordering hundreds of everything. And he was such a penny pincher and scraper. He wasn't ordering anywhere near what I was ordering. And he was dictating the terms of the entire industry. You can figure out who I'm talking about.
At the end of the day, positive thoughts, positive results. And I think that's what's going to make Philbo very successful. All the other guys out there doing the hard work in the trenches, work with those people that want to work with you. We are in an industry where we have so many freaking cheesy keyboard warriors.
I love you guys.
I am amazed.
I do. I love this show.
I am freaking amazed when I talk to my buddies in other businesses. I shut up because I'm like, that's not how we freaking do it. What are you talking about?
One step further.
Etiquette?
I'll go one step further than you. None of those keyboard warriors have the balls to come on a show like this and tell us that we're wrong, because they don't have, the spirit in them to fight this industry. They didn't try to wag the dog once when Diamond was in charge. And now all of a sudden they want to wag Lunar, and they want to wag Penguin Random House, and they want to wag Phil. These spineless cowards didn't wag a single thing at Diamond.
Yeah. I just think the path that we have in front of us, we have a great opportunity to be better.
Yeah.
And for those that choose not to be better and still live in that Diamond capsule, fine.
Yeah.
But we don't have to hear that anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I mean, Marvel readership, your sales are down. Even Marvel and DC are not your bread and butter anymore. I mean, how did this mentality work out? It didn't, and it's not. So when do you start looking at change? Again, if you're willing to invest in a board game, why can't you invest in an indie book?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'll tell you what, Phil, you have a seat on the show. Anytime you want to pop in, we're going to bug the hell out of you to bring you back. I think that you're doing great things, and, we got our eye on you, and we're going to keep following you, and, keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you. One last quick thing, I'll let you go. I know I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
Keep talking.
Plant Seed Distribution, they were doing their thing. One woman retailer came on. She said, I had a store in Austin, Texas, and it was big indie, and I sold way more indie than mainstream. And she goes, I moved to Florida, and I was worried that moving to Florida, I would lose that indie, and it would be a whole uproar, and I wouldn't have that indie scene. She said, believe it or not, our indie scene is still huge there. And she goes, because I do these little things that a lot of stores don't want to do. She goes, not only do we have a nice wall display for all the new indie releases, but she writes these little cards real quick with the synopsis. She just pulls off the catalog, prints them up, puts them in front, and does that. And she goes, and there are readers that want this stuff, and it garnered interest. She goes, I sell 3 times as much indie as I do Marvel and DC. And when the indie series is running out, if it's a 5-issue, they will come to her and say, what do you suggest I fill this hole with now? What do you got? Now, that may not work for every store. Some stores, your demographic is going to be DC Marvel. That's the way it is. I understand that. But the point is, this woman didn't invest in us. She invested in her own business. That extra mile she took wasn't for us. I mean, it helped us, and we're grateful for it. She was investing in her own business. What business doesn't market its own products that it's selling?
Right.
I'll tell you which one. Comic stores.
Right. But here's I'm going to give you a little number here, Phil. As you leave, I want you to remember this. At one point, Marvel owned 36% of the business. DC owned 30% of the business. That's 64%. Guess who owned the other 36%? Was all indie comics. Yeah. So indie comics are still pushing the envelope. We just have to look at the numbers and those pie charts. So I think sometimes people look at the blue and they forget that all these other colors actually are bigger than those other two.
Well,
colors.
I'll say this. I think that those quote unquote indie titles in those indie books, whether you want to think of Image as indie or not, I still consider them indie because of the way they do things. They are putting the comics world on their back and carrying the comics world right now, because you're right, Phil. For the most part, it's nothing but shit coming out of DC and Marvel at the big two, and it's places like Skybound and Ghost Machine and all these indie imprints and indie publishers that are putting out quality content. So,
but the fans also have to get the branding mentality out of their head, because they will spend $400 on crap from a well-known person instead of $100 from a guy who's not known putting out better stuff. If the fans don't stop with the branding and look at quality over branding, we're also in trouble. Because when the fans dictate to the stores, I want this in my pull list, the stores will have to come around. So I hope that the fans, Ghost Machine's great. Jeff Johns, fantastic writer, in my opinion, one of the best in the world. They deserve everything they get. This is not disparaging them. But, and I'll just throw myself out. Tragedy has been reviewed really well by Chuck Dixon, Peter David, and Howard Mackey. But why am I struggling for you to just give me a moment of your time? I mean, you may pick up that book and go, son of a bitch, this is really good. So all I'm saying is, I may not be a name, but the story's there. The product is there.
Brother, it's
don't
marketing.
Just brand.
Yeah, it's It's marketing.
Yeah, but
there's so much good stuff that just never gets discovered.
right.
I see it all the time. We can only hand sell so much. And then there's a lot of guys that don't read their comics anymore. So they're not even really able to hand sell. And it's much easier to say, oh, it's Spider-Man.
Well, I'll tell you what, Phil. This is something that we'll try out here. I would love for you to send me, once a week, once a month, whatever you want to do. You send me a title that you think we should be spotlighting over here on Beyond Wednesdays, and I will spotlight it. And we'll start it off with Tragedy. You guys go check out Phil's book, Tragedy. He's got multiple Kickstarters that he's run, and you can find it at Philbo Publication right now, and put it in your comic store. And like I said, let's keep in touch. You got a seat on the show whenever you want to jump in, and let's figure something out to get some more eyes on indie comics, and we'll start highlighting as much as we can over here.
I sincerely appreciate you guys, and I like how raw and honest you are. I really do, and you're knowledgeable too. You're not just talking out of your ass. So
hey, quick question, Phil.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. So I signed up. I signed in with my password, and it comes to another password.
Yeah. What happened was we had someone who's not a retailer somehow got past the wall and was doing stuff. I have haters. I just, it is what it is. So we had to put an added security. I'm going to put it in the private chat right now. The password's given. It's a broad password to everyone who has an account.
Oh, so I was just waiting for an email back, probably.
I'm going to give it to you in the private chat right now.
Thank you, sir.
You just put that in and you're good to go. Thank you so much, guys. I don't want to keep you. I appreciate you more than you know. And, keep doing what you're doing, because the industry needs people that are going to talk real.
Amen. Same to you, brother.
Love you, brother.
See you soon. Late.
Be good.
So back to our first conversation. Will Superman save the comic industry? And we were going through Incredible Hulk TV show, Wonder Woman TV show, Superman 78, Batman 89, Iron Man, Avengers. You know what we didn't mention? And even Blade. You know what we didn't mention? The Crow. You know what we didn't mention? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. For every giant needle mover from the big two, there was always an indie. Look at Invincible right now. Look at Walking Dead. Men in Black.
Road to Perdition.
Okay, that one was more. Yeah.
Great movie, though.
It was a great movie. It was a great movie, but
Walking
what I'm
Dead.
saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for every giant needle mover that the big two gave us, there was always an indie coming right up from behind going, hey, we're an indie. Maybe we're the next thing.
Right. But you also understand Turtle fans are culturally loyal to that brand as a whole.
Yeah, but they started as a comic book.
Thing. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then we forgot the big one. Todd, out of nowhere, Spawn, a movie. It was a horrible movie, but it was a Spawn movie.
Turtle fans are so loyal. They bought all the knockoffs.
Yeah.
The hamsters.
Yeah.
I forget.
Radioactive
hamsters, preteen kung fu.
There you go.
Kangaroo. Fish Police.
I'll tell you what. I honestly
Fish Police had a cartoon.
Oh wow! Okay.
Fish Police had an ABC
Cerberus. I think Cerberus got a second boost from the Turtle love. I think I discovered Turtles before I discovered Cerberus, and then I was like, "Oh shit, this is the same shit." I'm into it now.
Well,
yeah,
I want to talk about, because we kind of just barely hit on it, and I want to talk about Dynamite real quick, because when we talked about it last week, the news had just come around that Dynamite was owed a lot of money by AdPop, and that it looked like they were in dire straits and they weren't going to get the money, and there was a push to move the court date up to decide whether they, along with I guess other publishers, should get their money. Is that what I'm
Yep.
understanding?
Yeah,
And
there was a request.
there was a request and it got denied, right?
Of course.
So what are we looking at now for Dynamite and that 1.3 million in the future? Have we heard anything on that?
I haven't heard enough to comment too deeply on it, but my concerns are this. Looking at the numbers, that 1.3 is not all owned by Diamond. I'm sorry. Did we say a word we're not supposed to say?
Pop.
Cubic
Zirconian.
Yeah, cubic zirconians from Zirconian. Some of it is owned by AdPop, and I believe they need to fix that 1.3 because everything past May 15th should not be part of that 1.3 that's going to the previous company. So that could be an issue right there. I think this is stuff that is so late in the game. This should have been during the bankruptcy, not after the bankruptcy. And that's where my concerns are in this. This is something that is going to go on for a year to 2 years to resolve. At the rate the courts are going, with all the other lawsuits attached, I don't know how this is going to resolve for Dynamite in any timely manner at this point.
Well, I'll say this. There's a comment in here from Leschel. It says, Barucci sat on this podcast back in February talking about being friends with the Jeppies and loyal, et cetera, et cetera. No, 100%. And I'm not going to say that has bit him in the ass for whatever reason. But as Jesse is saying, as soon as it gets to this point where the courts are deciding, friendship means nothing.
Yep.
It means nothing. And that is a bummer. It's a real big bummer because, listen, loyalty means a lot between us men, right? At least the stand-up guys, the guys who can stand on solid ground. Loyalty means a lot. It means nothing in the court of law.
No.
But you know what else?
I just want to say one quick thing. I don't think the Jeppies had to appear in court at all. So there's your loyalty.
Yep.
Well, and I'll say one thing. And I don't want this to sound cruel, but we've known about Diamond's bankruptcy since January 12th. We knew within a week that Diamond owed Nikki $200,000, I think, that got moved to 250. I mean, you can't wait until the last minute.
Yeah, that doesn't include what he had there.
Right. I mean, there were so many things that we discussed on this show, and we know Nick watches the show occasionally. He didn't go get his inventory. He could have had a giant Dynamite sale in April at a warehouse somewhere. He could have had, we know how much artwork he has, a giant Heritage or Comic Link auction to save Dynamite. I mean, with all of the people that he gave breaks to, we could have had a We Are the World style rescue Dynamite. But if you wait till, hey, I don't have payroll next week,
a 24-hour eBay live show,
whatever. I'm just saying, I just think that you waited too long to save Dynamite, Nikki. If this is where we're at right now, there's plenty of things we could have done.
I think he's
coulda, woulda,
got plenty. He's got IP to sell. He's got a lot. He's got a lot if he wants to save it.
Yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda. At this point, though, also, you know what I mean? Like, I hindsight's 2020. It's hard. It's easy to say never put your trust in nobody, and that people always let you down. It's very easy to say that. It's a very hard thing to put in practice, especially when these are people that you have broke bread with in multiple ways, right? Money-wise, and sat down to a meal with them multiple times over multiple decades. There's a big difference in that. And I think that one of the things that Nick is, if he's not, if you want to, throw him up on the cross for it, he cares about the people in this industry, right? He's known for that, and he's known for being a caring guy. We had Heidi on, she said the same thing, that she's a Nick Barucci person. We're Nick Barucci people here. And that's not just because we like Nick. It's also because we want to see Dynamite succeed. And
He's made a lot of great books.
Yeah, a lot of great books. He's got a lot of great fans.
Quality great books.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do a quick shill for them, but they've got a great Humble Bundle that's available for all their books. If you just want to check them out, they've got a great Humble Bundle available. I'll put the link in the chat in the description as well. If you guys don't know, go check out dynamicforces.com. They've got great daily specials that they're doing over there. If you're a fan of Dynamite and you're a fan of what they've done over the years, support them in some way you can. There will be new Dynamite books hitting shops. You can still support Dynamite in some way. I just hope that the industry and the people in the industry feel the same. Because again, everybody's saying, "Oh, this is business." Well, if it's business, then and that's the way to think, then Dynamite's out. They're out of the water. Like, you need to have people that also care about the business and care about what Dynamite is putting out.
Right. I understand you're being very cordial and nice about this, and we should be. At the end of the day, what we have to also remember is look at how many people, right when bankruptcy happened, pivoted immediately over to Lunar. And this isn't a loyalty to Jeppy and all that. They pivoted. And so what we're seeing is Dynamite pivot over to Lunar. That will give him some breath. The problem is that's 45 to 60 days out before he gets a check from him.
Yeah.
So it's how the industry, how the folks come out and help him and focus on that. I think if we continue to show the articles about Dynamite doing this in court and Dynamite doing this and the problem is that takes away from him conducting business today.
Yeah.
Because one final thing, the thing when you bring up business, listen, he's got publishers that want to be number 5 and number 6 out there. And guess who's number 5 or number 6? And they're looking to leapfrog him. So there's a point in business where you say, I have to sell, I have to take care of my customers, I have to do Kickstarters, I have to do whatever it takes, but I can't let what's happening in court be the means of all ends today. That's something that my lawyer does, but I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and that's what he's doing with Lunar and getting his books out there. So I think if he fights the good fight, he continues to get their product out there, puts that on the back burner, it is what it is, right? And I think that's how he's going to be successful. Go ahead, Dennis.
So, Jesse, I just want to go back to an old-timey story because old man Barger is off his meds. 10 years ago, we used to have that Facebook group chat with all of our retailer buddies, and it was a very select group. And if you recall, our friends from the West Coast were having real tough times. And I was like,
yep,
guys, I can help you. I threw up a New Mutants 98 to go to benefit their store. It barely helped them. We had another store on the East Coast that was having troubles. And well, we tried to rally around them, and inevitably it closed. And, we were talking, and at that point, you were the leader of the pack in getting rid of new books.
Yeah.
But if you're relying on that diamond box, it's almost a monkey on your back. You've got to figure out a way to be able to do this without that. And that's what you were preaching. I was listening to it.
You may never get it, so you might as well work without it. Sure.
Right. And at the point at which that's keeping you down, you got to get it off of you and figure out another way or fold. And
yeah, especially in this time of day. This was make social. I guess my point is this: make social marketing, social branding work for you positively, and don't let a headline on Bleeding Cool take it another direction.
Yeah, and we love Rich, but Rich
No,
is going to make it
Oh,
sound
no,
like
that's nothing about Rich. I'm just saying, yeah.
right. But what do we say on this show about when we see red flags of a store having troubles? That, you know, we talked about it. The one guy was like, "Hey guys, if I don't have this much money by the end of the month, I'm going to have to close." And then we're like, "Dude, it's too late for you. You can't complain when you're at the 1 month period."
Yeah,
you know?
I think the notion is comic book store owners, whether we will ever admit it, our egos are extremely, extremely high, which also makes our pride very high. And I think that's what happened.
Bryan actually said this. He called me out of the blue on Sunday. We got around to it, and I was like, "Dude, you got to remember." He said that. He said, "You guys have so much pride. You guys have so much ego." And I'm like, "Dude, I learned from Ving Rhames from Pulp Fiction. That's pride fucking with you. You got to fuck pride."
Yeah.
You know, when I canceled my Diamond account, I had one of my former employees jump onto the post that he had me blocked, but I put it on the company page, and he still was apparently following the company. "Yeah, I knew they wouldn't last without me for more than 2 or 3 years." And I was like, "Dude, I'm doing this because I'm moving to something different and better." Okay. But, you know, there's that quote, there's people out there that are waiting to see you, are holding their breath, waiting for you to die. Let them suffocate.
Let them suffocate. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Billy, Economics and Comics in the chat. Make sure you guys go check out economicsandcomics.com. He's one of the good guys, and a lot of love for that dude right now. So much love to you, Billy. Okay. One of the things that I do want to bring up about this whole thing that was just so kind of infuriating about the court thing is there's a post on Bleeding Cool that talks about it. And this little part where it says, the Baltimore bankruptcy courts heard the case as to whether these procedures should be expedited in the case and decided the case was not compelling enough. Dynamite CEO Nick Barucci wasn't even allowed to speak on the matter. That to me is crazy. That you have guys, and again, this is the court of law. It doesn't matter.
Right. If he's an LLC, he cannot represent himself. At all.
It's called piercing the corporate veil.
Yep. So that's the legal stance there. I would have to see if he's an LLC. I'm gonna assume that he is. That's why they would not let him speak. You cannot represent yourself in any way, shape, or form if you are LLC.
The point of an LLC or an S corp, which I would believe Nicky's probably more of an S corp than he is an LLC. The whole point of that is to protect the company from falling over onto you. If the company, if a comic book published a article or a comic book saying kill this person, and some lunatic went out and killed this person because you published a comic book, and the family of that person wanted to sue Dynamite Comics and Nicky Barucci, they would go, you can only sue Dynamite because Nicky Barucci is just the owner of that S corp or that LLC. That's the protection. But the protection also goes the opposite direction. And I had this in a case with my lawyer. I wasn't allowed to speak as anything other than a witness at a dispute between a landlord and I, because I am just Dennis Barger. The lawyer represents Men in Black LLC. So it's a double-edged sword of you get the protection, but you also don't get the advocacy of being the face of that. The company is the face of that, and the company has to hire a lawyer.
Right. Yeah. So it's a tough situation for Nick. He has put full faith not only just into his lawyer, but the court. There are a lot of things that I think that his lawyer can look at as far as the procedural ways this bankruptcy was done, just through the trustee himself, and what was allowed that traditionally is not. You can't do. Any other person, they, like I said, I will say this every time we bring this up, they will write a book on how not to do a bankruptcy on this specific case, because the rules were technically thrown out the door on this. It is amazing to hear. So I think at the end of the day, and it's kind of funny that they wrote that, and the lawyer did not say to Nick before he attempted to do it, if he attempted it, you can't do that. I represent you as the lawyer to the LLC. So yes, it is very interesting. And to the layman, you are going to have that reaction like Brian had. Well, that doesn't make freaking sense, right? But that's the way it works.
Did you guys also hear about this Paizo post on Bleeding Cool about them talking about RPGs? They put out a statement saying, as many of you know, Diamond, or we'll call it AdPop, declared bankruptcy on January 14th. Hundreds of game publishers, including Paizo, have partnered with Diamond to sell their products into the book trade at Barnes & Noble's, Booktopia, and others. Diamond has also sold Pathfinder and Starfinder into Amazon for us. Paizo has stopped shipping products to Diamond. This means that our August releases will not be widely available at major bookstores or on Amazon. While these sites likely continue to list products for sale or pre-order, most orders for these titles will not be able to be fulfilled. To stay up to date with your collection, please stop by your favorite local game store and ask them to order our upcoming releases, purchases, or directly from Paizo.com, or sign up for one of our subscriptions.
Exactly. So, you know what, Eggplant, you are exactly correct. This is not how Chapter 11 freaking works.
Yeah, this was a total bastardization of what Chapter 11 is for.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys. It feels like there's some fuckery going on. It feels like there was something going on behind the scenes where it went, hey, I think we can get this for this if we do this. There's some people working together here that doesn't feel right.
After Heidi came on, it became even more clear. When we had Ogilvy on the show, he said he was interested in Diamond in September. Both them and Sparkle Pop signed NDAs in October. Meanwhile, in November, no one had a clue this was going on, except for this show, where we're like, seems awful weird. They shut down the Plattsburgh warehouse. And if we had known what Emmet knew, we'd be like, wait, they're throwing product in dumpsters instead of shipping it to Olive Branch? That seems really weird. And as this thing unfurls, Chapter 11, just for the chat in the audience, Chapter 11 is for you to reorganize your shit and get out of it to pay off the people you owe and keep the people you owe from foreclosing on your business. This thing went from January 12th, Chapter 11 to we'll be taking bids on April 1st. And that's when we were like, that seems odd that there was no attempt to restructure. You know, we thought, okay, they'll sell off Alliance for 39 to pay off the 39 they owe Image and Marvel and DC and everybody else. And it's elongated into this disaster that we're in right now.
Yeah. And the notion that not during this time, none of that $33 million was collected. I just think at the end of the day, we do talk about Dynamite and what's going on with them. I didn't see a path for anybody on the way that this was moving. The article that you just wrote, again, why is this article coming out June? What is it? July 8th. July 8th. And Piazzo, Apazzo, whatever. What were you doing?
Well, hold on.
May 15 and pre.
So let me just now. I want to. First of all, it's really weird that this article was structured the way it was, because Paizo is mostly distributed through Diamond Games. I'm using Heidi's terminology, not my usual. Diamond Games is the one that mostly distributed Paizo products.
Yep.
So I don't understand. You know, they would always be in the back of the book under Games because they were getting it for Alliance, Diamond Games, and then also putting it in Diamond. the Diamond portion of Paizo's sales had to be this compared to Diamond
Amazon,
Games.
yeah.
And see, all of that got picked up by Universal. So where's the Universal section of this?
This isn't necessarily Universal, but let's talk about this. We've been wondering why the silence from AdPop. I mean, the silence has been deafening. Like, we've had multiple retailers, store owners, publishers, people in the industry say, we haven't heard a peep from AdPop since this happened. Well, here's why. Here is
Can we
why.
read this whole thing? Because, yeah.
So it says, basically, just to catch up, at the beginning of the year, comic book direct market Diamond Comics distributor declared Chapter 11, owing millions of dollars to many publishers. Since then, additional financing was arranged with JP Morgan Chase Bank, and normal service resumed for everything post-bankruptcy for most publishers, while the proceedings continued and the auction for Diamond's assets took place. AdPop won the auction for Diamond Comic Distributors, but soon after the purchase was agreed, comic book publishers discovered that meaningful communication with all parts of Diamond Comic Distributors in the U.S. had stopped, along with payments. Soon after, an application had been made to the courts for liquidation of consigned stock by DCD, the debtor entity in the Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings, which has led to a number of legal actions being mounted by publishers ahead of hearing for the liquidation arranged for the week of San Diego Comic-Con. An executive at AdPop, the company that purchased DCD, has confirmed to Bleeding Cool that AdPopulum has been restricted from dealing directly with any consignment vendors and has had to go through the bankruptcy estate for everything, including any correspondence, and that AdPop sincerely hopes that changes very soon. Yeah, right.
Oh my God. Well, that's what we were saying. That's what we were saying 2 weeks ago.
Horrible wording.
Yeah.
Horrible wording. Okay. AdPop can't communicate with the consignees that are under the company that they bought, who still have employees, who have computers,
you misread that.
Phones, text.
Jesse, I think you misread that. They can't have conversations with anyone to buy that product. It's not with the consignors, it's with the consignees.
It says here, AdPop has been restricted from dealing directly with any consignment vendors and has had to go through the bankruptcy estate for everything, including any correspondence.
Right. So they still can communicate. It just can't say AdPop on the paper. That's a
I don't know.
Crap
I don't know. That sounds like
that sounds like Rich misspoke.
Yeah.
So basically, what it's kind of like the rule was when you first get to Diamond, this is what they say: you can't talk to Boom. You let us know what you want. We'll get a hold of Boom, and then we'll get back to you. Okay, I guess that's the way it is.
Right,
and then you're at the convention. But then you're at a convention, right? And what happens? You meet someone. They go, "Here's my card. Anything you need, let me know."
See,
right? One of the commenters said, I might be wrong, but I'm thinking that AdPop bought the assets of Diamond, not any of their debts or obligation. Those are owed by the former company and shareholders. And then somebody responded, yeah, AdPop didn't buy any of their debts. This would have been idiotic if they had bought the debts because they'd have incentive to continue working with the publishers on consignment books as consignment.
It's inherit. Any debt is inherited. That's BS. You inherit the company. You inherit the accounts payable and the accounts receivable.
Right, but to make it really clear, January 12th to May 15th, everything owed by the formerly known as Diamond Company is handled by the bankruptcy judge, attorneys, and trustees.
Right.
Everything after that, though, they have an obligation to not only pay, because they said they would pay everything after May 15th, but they can't not talk to them because they're also in litigation over here in the bankruptcy. They can't use that as a shield. Like, well, the court said we can't talk to Dynamite, so we're not going to talk to Dynamite about all the extra stuff that they sent us after May 15th that we haven't paid for. They can't do that.
Yeah, it's just bad business all around. I think what happens is you came into a business structure where a lot of companies didn't have representation and they didn't have any type of knowledge or coaching. You know, if this happens to you, you should be going to a lawyer, getting your first 30 minutes free to say, what do I do? And I don't think a lot of these people did that. They assume that, oh, we're going to get our money. You can't assume that in this situation, especially when AENT was that should have told you something right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I'll go one step further. The iceberg got hit in January. The iceberg actually got hit in September. Okay. It started taking on water in January. And if you were busy dressing up for the night's festivities from January to May, rather than figure out what lifeboat you needed to get on, you know, that's on a bunch of people at that point. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was, you know, just sitting there going, oh, it's the unsinkable ship. It's going to survive. I don't need to look for a lifeboat. There's supposed to be plenty of them for everybody.
Right. But when Eggplant said something that I completely forgot, if you are someone who's still with that company and they declare Chapter 11, you're assuming they're restructuring. You're not thinking, oh my gosh, they're selling off. Because traditionally you would sell off before the bankruptcy.
Right. Or you filed the Chapter 11 to sell off to save you from going to Chapter 7, which is kind of what I half wonder if Sparkle Pop is trying to skip over the 11 restructuring aspect of this and move right to liquidation at their benefit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's what it could be. I think every time we hear the word consignment, if they say the word consignment, they're admitting this is consignment stuff.
Yeah, it's not mine.
Hey, we're then liquidate the consignment stuff.
Yeah,
you just admitted it's consignment stuff. It's not yours. So how do you liquidate it? If they said we're going to liquidate the abandoned product, that would be different. But they're not saying that.
We're this close from James Cameron coming down and shooting a footage of your bow, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I just know when they make the movie on this, we should have parts. I already know who should play my part. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to jinx it. But we should be in the movie on this or the documentary on this, by far.
Yeah, but how are they going to portray us?
Yeah, well, cartoonish.
Well, maybe we need to have something to do with the documentary being made.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. And because I will tell you,
if only somebody had laid out a timeline of everything that's happened so we could follow it to make our script, Brian.
Yeah, that's crazy. What's funny is I always make sure he doesn't forget us. So I don't read anything else.
It is my talk show. It is my talk show.
Yeah.
My podcast.
What do you think the timetable on AENT doing something?
I mean, would you hire 10 former Diamond employees without having product available in the next 2 to 3 months?
Well, I think if you want product in 2 to 3 months, that they better start announcing it.
Yeah,
I think Bruce is going to be wandering around San Diego. And I think he's going to be making a lot of side deals with a lot of people.
Yeah, I will tell you they have some good things coming out. I think we will see some very exciting things from AENT in the future that will deal with comic book stores, LCSs around the world. And I think that's something that they have a good marketing team that understands there is a process here. And there's also timing. It's like the PSA thing. It's all timing. Okay, we're doing this.
It's
and this is what we're then doing in San Diego. And I think that's what you're going to see.
And look at Philip Sablick. It's all about timing. Last year we were talking about musical chairs, and Philip left Boom, and Ross had sold Boom, Boom. And now a year later, Ignition is coming out. Ignition is fired up. You know, it's
Well, what's interesting about that is, I mean, they have been announcing a bunch of monster things on the road to San Diego. You know, new IPs, new creators, all kinds of stuff. Tim Seeley, Simone DeMeo, I think. Is that Simone DeMeo that's going to be doing something? Lots of stuff that they're announcing, and they still got more to go. We definitely got to reach out to Philip to have him stop back by after San Diego to talk about how good it went, because they're really heating up. So I'm looking forward to this.
But it's all about timing. Could Philip have launched this? Yeah, I mean, he could have. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trashing on Philip here. But if he had launched this and it went right to the back of Diamond's catalog, and he had to spend 10 times the amount to market to get himself all through the Diamond catalog for his initial launch, just to be seen, now he's going to be able to be a much bigger presence in this shattered, you know, kind of landscape by just being him.
Yeah. This is interesting right here. Just real quick, I want to talk about this. This is a new book they have coming out, new IP called Voyeur, and they're doing something really cool at San Diego. They're going to be doing a burlesque show to announce it. So, I mean, they're doing cool things. I think that's a great idea.
Do we have tickets?
We'll get them.
I think you have to dress up for it, Emmet. So, so pick your
I can
dress
get some tassels
correctly.
spinning.
You know, everything is about. It's not. I think what people forget is you can be the best marketer in the world. You can do all these timestamp things at San Diego. What matters is Monday. And did you convince enough LCS owners to buy this product?
Yeah.
And was it the dance? Was it the, oh my gosh, every day that you got that little chart there that you then bring out another creator? Or is it that handshake where Philip is handshaking with all these people and introducing them to his other partners? It's all a dance that has to make sense on Monday.
Yep. He's got a good chance for FOMO. He's got a really good chance of being something like, okay, for LCSs that buy 10 issues down the road. Like,
but
on
we
launch,
know it is
more product pushed.
If you can get 500 stores to order 10 copies, that's better than the bottom % of Marvel and DC books that are selling right now.
Yeah.
Not many.
What I would have done. No, go ahead, Emmet.
No, I was just saying it's not many of Marvel and DC are under 5,000, but yeah, they have a handful. But the majority of Image books, I'm hearing a lot of grumbling about other than Skybound and the new studios, nobody else is getting any marketing.
Right.
Or at least
but here's the thing.
Marketing to help.
Skybound is doing
and
their
people
own.
are leaving Image. They're not going to bring their next book there. That's what I've been hearing in the grumble.
Right, but Skybound. So let me put it this way: Image did not buy the Hasbro license.
No,
Robert Kirkman
did.
Bought the Hasbro license. Skybound bought the Hasbro license. Skybound had $3 million in omnibus sales to do their own marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. Image hasn't put numbers on the board in quite some time. So that's on Image, and that's the people who chose Image. And Image had a different business model. I think we had the Massive guy on here, and he had it almost the same as the Image model, but slightly better. You know, he was actually comparing it to the Image model. And that's, you know, and as we talked about earlier.
I mean, we'll disagree on that. I don't think Massive has had a hit. Popeye, like, number one. that had some numbers, but what did
No,
they
they've
have
had
that
a hit.
sustained?
They've definitely had a hit. That Pinup Apocalypse is a hit.
Okay, well, we'll see in 5 issues.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
One.
Just to go back on Ignition, Philip, if you're watching, you should give out keys to every retailer and say, "Here's the key to success."
Oh,
Ignition.
yeah. And then it opens a box.
Give you the address
It's a 101.
and the royalty check. I'll send that to you on
You
your
deserve
Facebook
it.
message.
You deserve it.
You have to be different, right?
yeah.
Image in 2015, 2016, 2014, the difference was they had all these books on the table that were kicking ass, monstrous, redneck, I can't remember, Lazarus. You can go through.
They had Image Expo within San Diego.
Yeah, within San Diego, and all this excellent stuff. So right now, what you want to do as the new kid on the block is, how am I important on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? How do I make this happen? How does someone get home, go through all the goodies that we're giving folks? You're a retailer at San Diego Con, New York Comic Con. We get thousands of stuff just here on top of cards and all this. So at the end, we're just dumping over stuff. How am I going to remember who really took care of me?
Right. But Brian, hold on one second.
What's your first impression of them looking at their books? What's your first impression? The names, the themes, stuff like that. What's your first impression on it?
It reminds me of a comic publisher that came out, I want to say 2017, 2016, that had a lot of heat going in, and they did not follow it up. But
IP
like
Farm.
IP
Farm. They're
UP
making stuff
Farm?
for IP.
Like
a
whole farm?
A whole farm.
You need to get a urologist.
You look at the books, you look at the things. It's almost like they're trying to engineer a television show.
Yeah, but I'd say half the industry does that now.
Yeah. Those books fail.
99% of that.
Yeah.
Those books fail. Just make good product. Just come up with a good idea and make good stories. And a lot of people read them, and then people go, "Oh, that might be a good idea."
You have to
try
throw
to
a lot
reverse engineer it, television through comics.
I'm not going to go that far.
But that's not. But Emmett, if you go with that theory, how do you promote a book that you think is doing XYZ and not actually focusing on? You were talking about hand selling.
Yeah.
So what makes you hand sell a book from Ignition?
I read it. If it's a good book, I'll hand sell it. If it's not a good book, it'll be on the rack and people will make their own choice.
Well,
I'm not hand selling a book that's not good, because then people start to not trust.
I've said this since the beginning of this show. The industry has 5,000 of the hardest working people in marketing, and it's the 1,000 store owners.
For free.
It's the 1,000 store owners and the 4,000 employees of the stores.
Yeah.
They are the number one marketing tool. And every publisher needs to understand that going in. And I don't think I've seen, not since, what was Pruitt's Aftershock? Aftershock was the last one with an outreach program to the retailers and the employees.
I never was involved in it. And I sold a lot of Aftershock early on.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, the thing is, and guess what? Those were all IP mills, because I talked to him and he was looking for IP on all of that. So
yeah, they wanted to be in Hollywood.
You have to do all of it.
Right.
Yeah, you have to do all of it. Don't forget that we are the 5,000 marketing folks, that 1,000 are actually paying to market. We're buying your books, and then our job is to pay for something and then market it because we paid for it. And so we have to figure out what that driving force is, right? Is your driving force to sell product? Is your driving force to sell only good product? And the decision is, Emmet, if you read something, you read Redneck and you say I don't like it, but I read Redneck and I say I love it. You know, there's that distinction.
There's a difference. There's a difference, though. There's taste, and then there's quality, right? So if I don't like something, I can still see whether they know how to write a story and that it makes sense, and there's foreshadowing, and it moves in an arc, and you know it ends and it gets wrapped up in a particular way. I can see that the writing is quality and the stories, and the story just doesn't speak to me. That I can understand. I can say, and especially like a customer that likes something that I don't like. So my big thing, I like post-apocalyptic the best. Let's say this is a werewolf book. I could take them or leave them, but
Yeah.
I know a guy who likes all the horror books. So if I know it's well written, I'll say, hey, you'll like that. It's really well written. But he knows that I don't like werewolf books.
So,
hey, Brian, I just saw Panelfly in the chat.
Yes.
Do we have enough time to try to bring him on?
We're about ready to call it a night. It's 2.5 hours. So, but we definitely need to reach out to Panelfly and get them on.
Yeah.
Let's plan on having you on, Panelfly. Hit me up on IG, brother, and let's plan on having you on after San Diego. We'll get you on after San Diego and you know, figure out what's going on with you, because you're another one of the you know, industry you know, newbies that we want to key in on and see how your business is going.
You know, Brian, I talk about this, and it's stupid the way my mind works. I see a movie like Moneyball, and I can extrapolate that to so many different aspects of this industry. And I look at Philbo, and I'm like, okay, he's trying to play Moneyball with the indies. You know, when Jesse and I talk about buying the 5,000 comic book collection, and we're not buying it for the Hulk 181, we're buying it for the 4,999 books that we can sell for a way higher profit across the board. That's Moneyball.
Yeah.
This industry wants to be Babe Ruth. This industry wants to be Mike Trout. Okay, who's that guy, that stud you were talking about, Brian, that you found all the cards from?
Cal Raleigh.
They want to immediately try to find a Cal Raleigh.
Yeah.
You know, they're not looking to play Moneyball anymore. You know, they don't want to put out 10 solid books to see which one makes them a base hit. You know, they don't want, I mean, now Ignition, I think, is doing it the right way. Tim Seeley does a certain amount. They know that. They can bank on that. You know, this person does a certain amount. Get them in.
For
and of
AWA.
course, exactly. So
work for AWA. They've got fantastic creators, beautiful looking books. Nobody buys them.
Yeah,
but what are they doing with marketing?
Again, I have to admit, you know, I love you, bro, but it's not our job to tell people what not to buy. It's our job.
No, I'm not telling
to let people
I'm
make
just
their
saying
own
it's.
decision.
I
But
have to hand sell their books. When I say nobody's
to,
buying
though.
them, nobody's coming in and going, do you have AWA's Straczynski book or pick any one of them?
Okay, but
Nobody's
here's the
coming
problem.
in asking for those books. I have to hand sell them.
But aren't we supposed to be educating our customers on this new brand? And
no,
so
absolutely.
So I'm just trying to figure out. So if you don't like the book, you're not going to promote it, but then you're also not going to educate a book that you don't
But Jesse,
like.
it does have to be.
I'm using shorthand. I will educate them on the new thing. But if the book is bad,
well, I mean, but here's the thing, Brian. Can you pull up
poorly
AWA's
written,
Instagram?
the art doesn't tell a story.
Right, but hold on. I just want to prove a point, because it can't just be Emmet liking AWA and trying to hand sell at his store. No offense.
Does AWA have an Instagram?
That's what I'm asking.
Well,
That's what I'm asking.
First of all, what do you think of when you say AWA?
I think of the wrestling.
I think of Borgana. I think
well,
of Showboat.
they know their market too, because they got Ronda Rousey.
They just had a monster, not hit, but a monster play in the industry with the Charlemagne the God comic, right? I mean,
okay, right.
It's called the is it Illuminati? Is that what it's called, or something like that?
Illuminati.
Yeah. So
but nobody's talking about it because they haven't reached out. They, get Charlemagne on our show. We'll talk about it. Get Charlemagne in the YouTube sphere. How many people have looked at this post of Charlemagne the God at Midtown Comics?
Well, that's a great point. And it's funny because we have Swag in the chat right now. This is something that me and Swag talk about a lot. The fact that instead of spending all the money that the industry does to promote this stuff, they aren't promoting it where it gets growth, and it does.
Exactly.
It'll get growth over here more than it would the other places where they're spending it. And what I mean by that is YouTube content and content creators, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, comic book content creators have become the Wizard magazine. They have become the Previews magazine. Yep. They have become the Comic Buyer's Guide. And
Brian,
none of the industry is spending money with us. They should be.
Brian, how many people watch this?
I mean, there's 134 watching right now. So
not our show.
He meant
the Charlemagne
clip. Let's see here.
I can't see it. 177 likes.
Yeah.
Okay. How many comments? 2 comments?
Yep.
That's Midtown fucking Comics. They're given every benefit in this industry, and they don't have more traffic on this post on AWA's page than 177. There's 130 people watching right now.
Yeah.
And when we end this show, there's going to be 500 people who have watched this show.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you look at something like this, you need to market to that brand, not your brand, because that brand is definitely much bigger than AWA.
Yeah.
And I think you have to make those marketing decisions. If I post something about Bob's Burger exclusive, I'm hashtagging Bob's Burger. I'm not hashtagging Bob's Burger Comics. Right. No, I want the Bob's Burger fan to buy this. They don't care that it's a comic. And I think in this case, it's the same thing.
Well,
I think what you want to look on this is what are the print runs?
Yep.
And the print run will dictate how well this was done. If I go to someone like Charlemagne, I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to produce the book, but I'm going to need your help selling this book.
Right. But here, Brian, can you go to Midtown and let's see what Midtown's coverage of this was?
Yeah.
Should be able to just click if they got.
They're not in here. Yeah. Well, let's see here. Here we go.
And we didn't talk about Batman being a blind bag.
Right here.
Oh my God,
likes.
Denny Cowan is on this?
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I watch Charlemagne at least once a week.
Yeah, Breakfast Club.
Sometimes twice.
Yep.
Okay.
I love his podcast with Andrew Scholes too.
I haven't heard a single person mention AWA in 6 months on this show, except for Emmet tonight. The only reason that we're even knowing about this is because Emmet brought it up that they don't know how to market shit. Jesse said it's not their job. I said, hey, let's see how they are marketing shit. And this is 95 likes on Midtown.
Is that 95? 95, yeah.
95 likes on Midtown, 177 on AWA's.
One comment.
3 comments on both of them.
Yeah,
it's got to be synergy between Jesse and Emmet. It's got to have some PR because I would read this book. I would be excited about this book.
I would definitely
if
read
I
this
knew
book.
this book existed.
Yes. I'll read this book. I wish I was in New York to go to Midtown in July 10th. I would definitely go to meet these two guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To think with all the platforms that we have out there, even if you just said, hey, can I put a camera to the side? We're not going to interrupt you. We're just going to have this live streaming in the background. I mean, that's how I will tell you if I said, oh, I had the most amazing time. My next one's gonna be just as good. No,
Well, it's not going to be just as good until we get Jesse's internet fixed. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Two hamsters.
My internet down
Jesse,
again?
No, you're good.
Two hamsters
You're
next
good.
week.
Yeah, it was coming in and out. Yeah.
Okay, but at the end of the day, listen, if you're going to do something, put some effort into it, and understand people aren't surfing your page every day unless there's a reason to. And that's really the point. My post today about working 43 days straight, 20-hour days, got more views and likes than those two combined. that shouldn't be that way.
Probably by the faction of 10 or more.
Yeah. The one thing I do want to bring up, and Brian, I don't even know if you have it in your chat, is a creator coming out and saying, I don't support this book, and I'm not going to.
Well, I'm glad
we're
in Unfiltered, because this was definitely going to be a drama alert post. We're definitely going to talk about this.
Total vindication for Dennis.
Yeah,
on this show
we're
tonight.
definitely going to be talking about this during Drama Alert on Saturday as well. But what Jesse's bringing up, you guys, is this post by Nathan Zerdy. Shout out to Nathan Zerdy, an amazing artist, really cool guy. I had a great time with him on the Wednesday show a few weeks back. He put out a post saying, those fame books, not touching those in a million years, nor will I get near them. If I find out you're a retailer that carries them, I'm out.
Now here, go to the chat or go to the likes.
What's the fame book?
The Blue Water.
Those fame books, those Tidalwave books.
Oh,
I don't click
buy
on all the people who liked and loved this.
JC's comic stuff. Trish, here's the interesting. Trish said, wait, what? What's wrong with them? Here's another perfect example. Trish Forstner, another great creator in this industry. She doesn't know, until somebody else says it, she doesn't know.
Click on the 79 others down here.
Where's that?
No,
I can't. I can't. Right there. I can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a stellar list of tons of comic creators and artists.
Where was the original post? Was the original post on
Facebook? Go to Facebook.
Okay, let me find it real quick.
No, but it's what I said is, if you want to have a relationship with artists, and I took a lot of flack for this, but artists are going to detest this, except for the artists that are benefiting from it. But the real artists that despise their art being stolen are going to be the people that despise intellectual properties being stolen, if they have the conscience to do so. And this is what that comment means. If you're a retailer that touches this, don't ask him to do a variant for you. Don't ask him to do a signing at your store, because you are dead to him. If you steal IP, you steal art, it's over.
I don't know if he did this. Was it on Facebook? Because I can't even find it on Facebook. So
I saw it on Facebook. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I don't think he would delete it. I think he was pretty strong.
Yeah.
2 days ago, 4 days ago, I don't see it. So unless it's
maybe it was only. Oh, right. No, it's right there.
Yep.
Where?
99 comments, 118 likes.
Okay, so I'm on Zerdy's page right now, and I don't see
on
it.
his Facebook, or that's his Instagram?
That's his Facebook.
Is it? I'm
That's
looking at a different one. He's got you got to look at the one with his face.
Okay, I got you.
And his sunglasses.
I got you. Hold on here.
Because I'm looking, Adam Anthony in the chat loved it.
I got it. He's got two Facebooks.
Oh, okay.
One's a business one, I'm sure.
Yeah, Big Leg liked it.
So here you go. It's got 99 comments. Look at the comments.
Anna Zulo, Drew,
so,
Sean Kirkham.
Yeah.
Oh, he responded to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then read it. Let's just go through and read it.
Nathan Zerdy says, Tracy D, I'm deleting your comment because I'm not letting anyone talk or name other artists that choose to do them. So, and this person says, please educate me on what exactly you're talking about. Totally clueless, but now I feel about you as an artist and friend. Nathan said, I've never done one, for the record, never will. He responds to this person, please don't post their covers. I'm not promoting that garbage. He said, sorry, I wasn't trying to promote it. I was trying to make other people aware of my bad. He said, all good, man. Christopher Gray said, so these are just modern versions of rock and roll comics from the late 80s. This person says, are you talking about Tidalwave books? If so, they look disturbing. This person says, what is a Fame book? The only thing I can think of is Fame Miley Cyrus comic I bought for my daughter. And Jay Wilson, he says, Jay Wilson, yeah, last 2 years they have been just openly making covers of famous characters for other companies, just vaguely connected to whoever they're doing Fame issue for. So like they do a Charlie Cox issue of Fame and just do straight up Daredevil covers. It's crazy, especially females. And you know what, you guys? At this point, I don't feel sorry for people after this happens, where artists start saying, hey, artists need to know about this, and artists are starting to tell other artists. So at what point do we say, okay, ignorance is bliss, but hey, people out there, like, how do they get around this is what I'm getting. Like, can Tidalwave come back for this? Billy says, it's interesting. This post about Tidalwave from Zerdy the other day actually touches a lot of stores we know, even stores that brought Zerdy into the light to do DC covers. So.
Right. Yeah, I my concern is always when someone says, if you don't do what I'm preaching, then I can't support you. But we all sell comics. And if a customer says, I want the Taylor Swift comic book, do I say no?
Okay.
Because Zerdy told me not to sell it.
Jesse, why don't you carry Wheeler's Lady Death Star?
Because no one's asked for it and I can't order it. That's not my point.
If somebody asked for it, would you? If somebody asked for it, would you sell it?
If someone asked me for a comic, I'm not going to tell them no. I will get it for them.
If somebody asked you for that comic, would you get it for them?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Because it's a complete ripoff of your good friend Brian Pulido's IP.
That does not matter. If a customer
it matters to Brian Pulido.
Well, sure, it matters to Brian Pulido. But at the end of the day, my job is to order what a customer asks. Will a customer ever ask me for that book? Absolutely not, because they know not to ask me.
That's the hypothetical.
Well, we're not talking. If it does happen, I'll make the decision at that point.
And that's what Nathan Zerdy is doing right now.
No, he's not doing that right now.
Yes,
he's telling people if you carry any of those books, he's not going to support you as a retailer.
No, he didn't say he was going to support you as a retailer. He said he wasn't going to work with you as a retailer.
Well, that's not supporting you. That's not supporting you. How many stores already ordered this stuff before he wrote this?
You're rationalizing this in the wrong direction, Jesse.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, he can have his opinion. But if all these people that had the opposite opinion of him, of his post, he had a negative to it. I mean, people should be able to buy what they want. And if they don't, then they won't buy it. But when you can't tell if I'm not going to support you, and then have those stores make the conscious decision you guys just pulled on me with Wheeler.
But it's a perfect example because that's what he's saying.
Perfect example. Yeah, that's exactly.
If he works for DC Comics, and Tidalwave does a Bob Kane comic book, and
so every store that has sold a Fame book, you're telling me right now that they are completely in the wrong, no matter what it was when they sold it and when
I
they
think
ordered.
I don't think that they're in the wrong, but I think that maybe they didn't know, and he's coming out and saying, "Now you know."
Yes.
Well, then it should be more educational than this. Well, I'm not going to support you if you sell this.
Right.
You know,
Right. I understand. He
think
definitely needed
what
more
I'm trying to say is
specificity because half his chat didn't know what he was talking about.
right, exactly. That's why I'm saying. So make it more educational than a retailer who's saying, "What I don't know about this." Now they can make that decision with being educated.
This is
But
another.
if you feel you're being pushed in the corner, then
Right.
that's why things happen.
This is another creator, Anazuo. She says, "Yeah, no, thank you. I specifically tell people who want to hire me that I will not do any Tidalwave books. I already turned down literally 9 requests this far. I'll do my own ripoff book, and that doesn't cost $8 to print." And then Zerdy says, "I love it." Anna says, "So add to this. They have been going in streams and bidding up their own books to mark up the perceived value." That's interesting.
Shill bidding. Yeah.
That I don't know if that's true, but
Nothing.
that's the thing
Yep.
she's saying that is true. I don't see
Oh,
any
go
other
back up to Tony
creators.
Harris.
Oh, Tony
Was
Harris?
that Tony
Yeah.
Harris?
Yeah, no, Tony Hayes.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm looking for other creators in here that I don't see any yet, but that's going to be the interesting part to me is when creators start saying there's James. James says, "Agreed, gross and scummy. I think as a retailer, publisher, or artist, part of your responsibility is to be a good steward of the industry. Things like this that have the potential to bring litigation or shine a bad light on the industry should be beneath all of us. As a retailer, I've decided to also not partner with or work with any artist or retailer that has participated. I also just on a personal stance, I think it's really creepy and gross to make money off someone else's likeness without their consent."
But
Yeah, I have a bunch of that. People write books all the time.
exactly, there
there's
you go.
No.
Biographies
There's a fine
written all the
line
time.
between the one cover of Fame, Tidal Wave,
100.
Taylor Swift, where it's just an artist drawing Taylor Swift.
Right.
But it's at the point at which they drew her as Dazzler and the point at
Right.
which they put her in a Chiefs uniform.
There's a way to do it. That's
Yeah.
the point I want to get.
That's the line that was crossed into IP theft. Then hold on, Jesse, let me just finish the second point.
Okay.
Then by not getting completely in the weeds when artists were stealing other artists' art and putting it on their books through AI or swiping or aping or whatever, that's when they crossed that second line, which is what I think Nathan Zerdy is decided is over the line for him to ever work with the company.
Right. So my question is this. So you guys educated me. Obviously, I now know I can't sell that Reeler book because now that I think about it, it would go against my beliefs and my friendship with Brian. So I admit I was wrong on that. Fame, Tidalwave, who distributes that?
Gosh, I don't know because they weren't on Philbo's because I just made my order a little while ago.
So are they Lunar or are they Penguin?
I think they're
I have never seen them.
Do they make
they?
enough to even distribute? I know they self-distribute through Amazon. All their stuff is just they sell on Amazon, and I think they self-distribute.
Okay, so
through
they're
Amazon.
not distributed through
Traditionally, because I don't get any of their books. I would have not been educated myself, and I would have accidentally bought their books just because I buy 2 of every independent book just to try it out, read it. So I don't think they're distributed by anybody I buy through, and I buy through.
Okay. I've never bought one, so I
Me either.
couldn't tell you. Yeah, and you know, so a retailer is going direct to them.
I believe so.
And it is not being offered through a distributor. So I think that's the difference. If this was being offered,
they might still be through Diamond though, too, Jesse.
Okay.
Were
if it
they
was
through
offered
Diamond?
through a distributor,
I used to buy them from Diamond.
I don't think as of late. I don't think like in the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
yeah. I think if this was sold through Lunar or Penguin, I would say the responsibilities lie within Lunar and Penguin at any time that they felt something was IP theft to let the retailer know. If you're buying direct from them, it's their responsibility, which obviously they're not going to say that.
It says here, Tidalwave Productions books can be found digitally everywhere. The books are now available wherever you can order print books: Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Powell's, Books A Million, and more. Now, we had Darren on the show early on, and we've talked about this before. It's come up multiple times, especially most recently in a very interesting episode, where we've said that in that episode with Darren, he made it seem like he was going to veer away from the IP theft line, and it feels the exact opposite now. It feels like they've found a wave. They rode it into, we're going to do more of this.
Right. The only reason comic stores deal with them is because they can get exclusives. They can do exclusives with them and have total fucking carte blanche.
Yep.
You know, we'll pick our artists. We'll tell our artists what we want them to draw on the cover, and they're just going to slap it on whatever.
And we can do 100 copies,
Anna,
50 copies, 20 copies. We could do 10 copies if we want. Right. It's print. Yeah. It's basically, the books are basically print to order.
Right.
But
if that's the way it's done,
if they can't find one, they'll move on.
Right. If that's the way it's done, then I completely agree with them. I was assuming that this was going through Lunar. The store was making the conscious decision to order the books to put on their shelves. And now I realize, no, these stores are making conscious decisions to buy direct from them.
Right.
Direct to the store.
Dennis, I think you're right. It was at Diamond, but it wasn't these kind of books. They had they made some other kind of books that were like real.
Listen, Darren's been around a long time. He has been part of early Avatar days. You know, he had Scotty Young and Mark Brooks do their very first professional work in his books. He also was part of the early Image days with the 10th, I think it was called, the 10th or 10th Muse or something like that.
10th Muse.
Yep.
10th Muse.
That was Darren. Darren's been in this part of this industry for a long time, which, to be honest, was kind of like a good thing to me when we were interviewing him. But
I became a fan of him instantly after seeing him meeting him on our show and interviewing him.
Yeah.
And then slowly but steadily, I'm just like, come on.
Right.
No. Oh God. Why?
People
and obviously
pay their bills,
it boiled up about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. So in this case, after listening to getting a little bit more information, I do now understand why he wrote it. And I understand why people didn't know what he's talking about, because this is not in every comic book store. It's a very limited amount of stores that this is in. There's 20 stores around me. I've only seen one store carry it.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, only one store. So that's the store.
Well, but Jesse, it's your other 76,000 comic sellers that are giving him the market. It's your whatnot sellers. It's your eBay sellers. It's your convention, dealers and publishers. It's a dark web of stolen IP and stolen art.
But why is the market there? Cover buyers.
Yeah.
They don't care what's on the inside.
Buyers who aren't educated that this is theft.
Right. That it's theft. Right.
Right.
Like I said, I saw that one book. I saw that one book 5 times the day it blew up. And I just thought, because I was at Star Wars Celebration Japan, I just thought, oh, these are Marvel covers of Darth Maul, because they got a new Darth Maul cartoon coming out. And they're ahead of the game. Oh, wait, it's so obvious that it's Darth Maul that I didn't think anything different.
Right. And Emmet, when you say flippers are buying these, eventually it gets
cover
to
buyers.
Cover buyers. It eventually gets to...
Yeah, nobody's reading these books.
Person who has no idea what they just bought.
Yeah.
Well, I could be wrong. I could be wrong because I would love to know how many of the so when from what I understand, when these tidal wave books come out, the regular copies with the normal cover is sold on Amazon and these big print to order stores. Who's buying those? And I want to know if they're buying those to read, and I'd love to see the sales numbers on those.
Can I give you a suggestion, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Pull up Cover Price. Is it Cover Price that shows you all the variants and all of the people whose variants they're for?
Well, I don't think you can just type in Tidalwave, can you?
I think they have by publisher. I thought they had by publisher.
Let's see here.
I just remember when you went through that list after the blow up, and you went through that list on the Saturday show of all the variants at Texas or Dallas. And all I saw was what do they call it? Labubus, Pokemon, Star Wars. And
right, here
it was like out of the 600 variants in Dallas, 300 of them were Tidalwave knockoff IPs.
So I can't look up by publisher, but it'll let me click on it if I look up by the order. Let's see here. Let me do if I do Tidalwave. I hope
I think it's 2 words.
Let's see if Matt's around. If he's around.
It might be 2 words though.
I don't think so. No. It's Tidalwave Productions. I wish they would let you search by. Yeah, no. But if I look up that George
Lucas,
if I look up the George Lucas, if I look up the George Lucas book, it pops right up. Here's the original cover right here. It looks like.
Yep.
So this is the book that they originally sold. Here's the cover.
That's fine.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't either.
As long as the artist actually drew it.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, it's bad. It's bad, so probably.
Yeah. But again, the variants, we know the variants.
Yeah.
So
three
there's all kinds of them, right? Name a famous person.
The Charlie Cox, the one that they mentioned.
Charlie Cox. All right, here it is right here. Now, that's their normal book that they sell. Let's take a look at all the variants. Yeah, I have no problem with that. Let's look at all the variants. Yeah. Punisher.
Daredevil.
Punisher.
Look, Daredevil's not even on that. It's just the Punisher.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but I bet you if we looked, and I don't know the artist
versus Punisher.
Hold on, I'm just gonna say this. I don't know the artists on this one, on these books, but I bet you if we looked at a majority of these Tidalwave books that have exclusive variants for them, a lot of them probably hit that stolen art / AI art.
Those are captured collectibles.
Yeah,
those are both captured.
I mean, I bet you could go find these images somewhere, and they look pretty damn close to
light boxed or AI.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this right here.
Punisher, it doesn't
Scroll
even
down.
have Charlie
Just count
Cox
how
on
many
it.
there are of Charlie Cox.
Hey, why isn't Charlie Cox on there? Exactly. That makes no sense. So
it's a
cool
cover.
Look at all these Punishers. They're all Punishers.
5 different variants of Punisher.
Yeah.
And that not one of those is for a comic shop, except for that first one.
I'm sorry, but these don't look. This doesn't look like a drawn image. It looks like it's aped or it's stolen art. I mean, it could be. I don't want to sit here and I don't want to. But you know.
But I just think that it's interesting that an artist of Zerdy's caliber is now making a stand. Okay. And I'm sure somebody's going to call him out if he goes back on that down the road. But I think he's pretty hard and fast with that rule, because you're never going to get a job at Marvel if you made one of those Charlie Cox.
I'm telling you, Marvel doesn't know. Marvel doesn't even read some of their own books. They don't
Shout out to Economics and Comics with that perfect thing there, which I'll replay for all of those that didn't get to hear it. Billy dropped a $10 super chat And thank you so much for that, brother. He says, well, actually, let me go ahead and replay his what we should play. Here we go.
I heard it.
Yeah, but they didn't get to hear it. So that being said, thank you, Billy. He says, to Brian's fans, if you want some Batman blind bags, you can use the code B at my store, Economics and Comics, through Monday for 10% off. Thanks, Brian, for always supporting me. Release date of 9/3/25, which is my birthday. Thank you, Billy. We appreciate you.
How many of these bags do you think they're going to sell?
Yeah.
A ton.
Emmet
But they're
Dennis
$9.99 a
said,
piece.
My fans don't get the discount, only Brian's fan. Is that what he's saying?
That's exactly what he's
our
saying.
fans will buy out our stores.
Yeah, there you go.
That is true.
Yes. So thank you, Derek. Appreciate that, brother. Okay, so here's the thing.
And I'll tell you what, they had a screening tonight, and Brian, we were talking about Superman. Adam saw it, loved it. I have a whole bunch of people in my Facebook feed right now that are just getting out of that first showing.
Where did they have a screening? Is it out tonight?
In the Detroit area, they had a late screening, apparently. I don't know. I didn't get invited because I'm not a real comic book shop. But the reactions are from some of my good friends that I have probably 90% cohesion with movie love. Loved it. Said, just trust James Gunn. He did a fabulous job. And he has no skin in the game when it comes to, shilling
whether it's
for
good or not. Yeah.
Right. I had one person say, yeah, not impressed. He's a very ardent, hard person to win over. I think it's going to be, it's what I said. I think I said it on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think we will love it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a convoluted mess for the normies that loved The Walking Dead and Avengers. And
that's why they're selling them the dog.
Yeah. And if you're a cat lover and not a dog lover, you're going to be split.
All right.
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't do this during the 4th of July weekend.
Look at these. These are all the
I
books.
think they missed it.
These are all the books published by Tidalwave. You got a Carrie Fisher, Our Princess.
Holy shit.
That doesn't even, that's Ray, or is that Ray? I can't even tell. Fame, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Beetlejuice, Charlie Cox, Darth Vader. What?
How are they able to do Beetlejuice?
How are they able to do Darth
That's
Vader?
not Michael Keaton. Yeah, or Darth Vader.
Yeah.
They're not real people.
The guy that created what's the with Monkey D.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Luffy?
Or
not
Naruto.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Naruto.
No,
One Piece.
One Piece. Gal Gadot.
That's weird because I think I saw way more than 3 variants of One Piece already.
Hugh Jackman, John Carpenter, Keanu Reeves, Lionel Messi, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, Mr. T, the guy who created Pokemon, Miyamoto, Steve Austin, Cold Stone Steve Austin. So there's 2 Steve Austins, it looks like. Sylvester Stallone, Tupac, Wes Craven, Taylor Swift the sequel, Taylor Swift trade paperback, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Bob Marley, Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee,
Wow.
Dr. Seuss, J.R. Tolkien.
Eminem didn't hit them up.
Look at all of these.
I'm telling you, when you start doing Tupac and Eminem, you better start looking over your shoulder when you're walking down the street in Los Angeles.
Notorious B.I.G., Stan Lee.
Oh, yeah, I won't even
Stan
sell
Lee
that
tribute.
for fear.
They did a Keanu Reeves and it's got him as Ghost Rider. Like, again, holy moly, you guys. Jesus.
But like I said, the gauntlet has been, and Jesse, just like I did with you, you are absolutely right. You have to educate all the customers, the retailer customer and the regular customer.
Yep.
If a customer came in and said, hey, I want Lady Death Star, then you would have to educate, hey, I can't get that for you because it's a stealing of an IP of a very close personal friend that I would not ruin the reputation with that friend over buying this one book for you. And that's what I think Zerdy is doing in this.
Universal says, if someone has a comic book store, I'm interested in buying dollar comics. Anybody got dollar comics to sell?
I've got
And there you
tons of
want-
dollar comics
yeah,
to sell you.
there you
Tons
want-
and tons. How many do you want, brother?
Yeah, get your 24-foot truck. Let's fill it up. All 3 stores will pull it. We'll go. You'll get 3 different
24-foot,
states at
yeah.
$1.
It's only 12 hours between me and Emmet, and it's only 14 hours between Emmet and Jesse.
All
So
right.
if you've got 26
And
hours,
then just
run the
don't have Dennis fly it to you, because that would be like 96 hours.
I want to talk about one last thing before we call it a night. This was interesting. I saw eBay. eBay has officially announced their launch of extended bidding on their platform. A bid placed
gone.
and the bid placed in the final 2 minutes of an auction will
Finally.
extend the end time by 2 additional minutes.
Fine.
I have been selling
What
on
does that
eBay
say?
for 26 years. And the amount of auctions that I've run in the last 10 years has precipitously dropped since they invented the sniping software. eBay didn't
Yep.
invent the sniping software. But when the audience started using the sniping software, and I would see 20 bids hit in the last 10 seconds, and they were all way under market price.
All right,
I'm like,
read that
by
again,
analysis-
because I don't think some of us understood what that said. Say it again.
eBay has officially announced the launch of extended bidding on their platform. A bid placed in the final 2 minutes of an auction will extend the end time by 2 additional minutes. This move should help drive additional bids on in-demand items late in auctions. So it's
But you
just
can
like
always
eBay Live,
already
Jesse.
do that. Oh, so this is regular eBay.
Regular
This is
eBay,
Correct.
not eBay Live. Yeah,
Okay,
regular
okay,
eBay.
Okay,
Yeah.
now it makes sense.
Because I think they probably saw the test markets for eBay Live and said, "Oh,
Yeah.
hey, this is something
It
we
gets
need
more
to."
bids.
Yeah,
And I just don't put stuff up for bid.
yeah. Like I said, for 10
Buy it
years,
now.
I have
Yeah.
gone buy it now or
Buy it
best
now.
offer.
And I've had some things that I probably could up, really unique stuff I could have
Yep.
put up for bid, but
It's not worth it. Yeah.
it's not worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I will tell you guys in San Diego, eBay is doing most of their live shows are directly with the creators now. So they are not using the sellers as much. They are going directly with the creators. So that's a change going on. And then they also launched a national event that we can talk about next week. But a lot of things happening.
Isn't that's good marketing. Like,
Yeah.
if it brings more people to the platform, then the next time you go up to sell, you have a possibility of selling more or at higher prices. Like, some people get angry that, like, oh, they left us out. We're the ones that did all the work.
Right.
Sometimes it's a good decision. It'll just be better later on. It's
Well, by far, I think the notion is this. If you say to Marat Michaels, hey, Marat, if you do the show by yourself and I'm not the seller and you're not doing it on my page, I'm not working with you anymore. Instead of saying, hey, Marat, if you need any help, let me know.
Yeah.
And then extend that relationship so you can do more directly with him down the road. So I think there's 2 train of thoughts there. Is it tough if you're at the beginning and you see the ideas happen that you say, and then you're kind of put, oh, sure it is. But that's why we move on. We talked about egos and pride at the beginning of this show. You got to let it go and you got to move on. You got to go sell.
Well, I'll sum up tonight for me. I think we all work better together as an industry when we talk to each other, we explain the problems that are happening, and we don't try to do it alone. There's so much more strength in numbers. When you see what we've talked about on this show, we went out to all the publishers, said, guys, go in there and get your inventory. We said that back in January. Don't leave your inventory there. Nobody got their inventory in January. I can't go and push publishers to go get their inventory. That's their shit. All they can do is listen to us.
Yeah.
You know, when you see Zerdy talk about, hey, I'm only going to work with retailers who support IPs and artists that aren't aping IP, that's him saying, I'm building a coalition of people to fight this. This is where I'm starting. When we talk about, me going down to Jesse's store opening, that's me supporting Jesse. That's me trying to strengthen our relationships as retailers, especially retailers that aren't selling new books. That's where we all start working together and we all start winning together.
Yeah. We're all making readers, more readers, bigger people, amount of people to sell to. We all can sell to. That's all these guys who are sitting in their basements selling books only online.
And
thank us for making the people who want to buy the book.
And when Emmet started talking about AWA, we literally uncovered a book that we're all going to be interested in, that AWA, who hasn't worked with us yet, is now accessible to all of us and everybody who watched the show.
Yes, you're right. Listen, real quick, 120 watching live right now at this point. Before we get into pickups, I want to talk about something that is going on for the rest of this week. Hopefully you guys were watching last Wednesday night. If you guys were watching last Wednesday night, you saw something really cool happen here on Beyond Wednesdays. We announced that we have a variant for San Diego Comic-Con this year. It's one of many that we have over at Big Clutch's booth in San Diego this year. A G.I. Joe 318 variant by the great Suspiria Vilches, who is an amazing comic book artist, poster artist, just artist in general, and an amazing, amazing person that's very easy to root for, that we love over here at Beyond Wednesday. She did these amazing covers. We not only did one cover with her, this is our Baroness cover, we did two. This is our Scarlet cover, both in gorgeous foil, and that's it. No trade dress, just foil, all art. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Hold on. In honor of Hood. Mama.
Thank you, sir. And there's only 250 copies of each. If you were watching last Wednesday, you were lucky enough to have a chance to order some of these copies for those of you that weren't going to be able to make it to San Diego. We put aside a certain amount available for live viewers. We dropped a link, and you guys, you guys bought some, and congratulations to those of you guys that got some. Not only that, we had Suspiria on with us, and she announced that she was going to be selling the original art. And she put up the original art on her page today, and they sold in seconds. So congratulations to whoever won the original art for this. I am super jealous. We kind of talked behind the scenes, between us and, Clutch and Big Leg. And we said, hey, we want the art. Should we get it? And maybe we shouldn't buy the art for this one, even though I would have loved to have these on my wall behind me. But we gave it to other collectors out there the chance to buy this stuff. So congratulations to whoever bought it, and much love to Suspiria just for being the amazing person she is. I want to announce that tomorrow night we have another one of these things happening, but with two books. Tomorrow night we will have the announcement for Sveta Shabina's San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Shout out to Sveta, who is an artist living in Europe. She's unable to be here, but her artist rep is going to join us tomorrow night. Shout out to Adam at Comics Boards Inc. He's going to join us, and we're going to announce the new variants for Pin-Apocalypse and an extra, we'll say. And we'll be showing you guys those variants tomorrow night, as well as we'll be showing you guys this variant, a beautiful Art of Carol, Something is Killing the Children by Big Clutch. These will both, and then there's also a Art of Carol Big Rig. But for those of you guys that like this book right here and that are Sveta Shavina fans, do not miss tomorrow night's show, as we have been very lucky to drop another small amount of these variants that you can only get at San Diego and from us tomorrow night on the show. So a very small amount for those of you guys that are not going to be able to go to San Diego. You got to have the link, and we're going to drop the link tomorrow night live on the show. Not only will we have Adam, who is repping Sveta Shabina, we will have Josh Blaylock and Pop Mahan to join us to talk about Disavowed, and we will be dropping the amazing Art of Carol, Something is Killing the Children San Diego variant. If you're lucky enough to be in San Diego, these two variants and more, including these variants, will be available in San Diego. They are con exclusives, which means they will be available at the tables in San Diego, at Sveta's table and at Big Clutch's table. So if you're going to be there, stop by, say hello. If not, come hang out with us tomorrow night. That being said, also, Thursday night, I will be having a massive eBay live sale. I have a ton of variants, a ton of keys, a ton of signed books that we are going to be selling to raise money for the trip to San Diego in 2 weeks. We are going to be having at least 4 sales over the next 2 weeks to raise money for the trip to San Diego. So tomorrow night, make sure you guys are following Beyond Wednesdays on YouTube. Hit the little button, the little bell that says you want all notifications, because then you will be notified when I go live, and you can get the link to the eBay live sale or to the Whatnot sale or to whatever sale I'm selling platform I'm on. You can get the link. As long as you are following Beyond Wednesdays on YouTube, I will always dual stream these sales so you guys can get into the sale. Also, Friday night, here's another very important thing. Friday night, House of Stein Pack 11 is going to be announced. For those of you guys that don't know, House of Stein packs are some of the premier mystery packs in comic books. He's been doing these now for a couple years. They sell out in minutes. They have usually a floor of $150 and a ceiling up to $700 or more. This time it should be the same. So we will be announcing that on Friday night. So make sure you guys come join us on Friday night as Stein Pack 11 will be announced. And the way that works is for paid subscribers to House of Stein YouTube channel, you guys get the chance to buy them first, and then it opens up to everybody else. So if you're a member over at House of Stein, that's good for you. You have a chance to get them first. If you're not, you can wait and hope that you get some, or you can sign up to be a member over there. Stein Pack 11 will be available on Friday night. Make sure you guys are following House of Stein as well for the Hot 10 every Friday night, hosted by me and a few other guys. So good shit. Let's get into some pickups. You guys got any pickups this week?
Okay, so I'm going to go since no one's saying anything. Don't forget, new to the store this week. Since you weren't at the beginning of the show, why weren't you at the beginning of the show? We have
White
4
Castle
new socks. We have Big Bird that just arrived. Great sock. We have the 2-pack, Space Jam, Bugs Bunny. I don't know who was on the other one. Oh, it's just the gray version. Very cool. White Castle socks just came in. Awesome. Down to 1 pair. And then the new Ace Ventura sock that came in. Pickups. A couple of things. I didn't know Mad sent their magazines with this awesome freaking cover, which was pretty cool on their mail subscriptions.
Is that new?
And you just got that? No, it's not new. I think it was back in the day.
Oh, okay.
But that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. I got a whole bunch of those. I thought they were exclusive cover at the beginning, but very cool there. Then I also picked up, if you played pencils in the 80s, you know the best pencils to have are the NFL and the NBA pencils back in the day with the tunes on
Jesse,
it. Yep.
I have an old school dispenser for pencils.
Yep.
that you mount on the wall and you put $1 in and you get a pencil.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
could work together.
loved playing pencils back in the day.
Yeah.
And then the final thing I got, so I got this box and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty cool background. Dennis might know what this is. You know what this is?
I know
Dennis?
exactly what that is, with the shelf talkers and the mobile.
So inside it, you got this great letter from Xavier's School, Bruce G. Costa, signed. And then you got a great store sign with your times
Oh, that's great.
in it. And then you got the backside, which says, hey, thanks for stopping in. We're not here right now. Be on time, blah, blah, whatever. Very cool there. And then in here as well, you got the promo poster, which is awesome. Right? I thought it was light filled, but apparently they put some light filled and combined a whole bunch of artwork in here. And then on top of it, you got the, hi, my name is Jesse James. Ask me about the X, Mutant X Genesis. So I got packed. Very, very cool. That was my pickups this week. So very cool. That came in the original box. So that was some cool stuff I got this week.
Dennis?
Well, I got right before we went live, I got an email from Hasbro saying that this week my 2 Cobra Rattlers arrive.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
G.I. Joe Classified,
I'm
dude.
so
I'm
jealous.
so geeked over that.
Dude, they are beautiful.
Dude, I got to figure out where to put one back here somewhere.
Yeah.
If you want to pull up my Facebook, I got, and Emmet, you'll understand this one. Did you see this post?
I've seen a lot of your posts. So you have to remind.
I showed up early today, and because of that, a guy who was a collector just happened to roll into the store, and he dropped this on me. Those are all Greninjas, Umbreons, all of the tag team cards, full art, special arts. It's about $2,000, $3,000, or $2,000, $2,200 worth of cards.
Yeah.
And I just happened to have a pocket full of money and was there at the right time.
Yeah.
And this guy had been hoarding them since COVID era and was like, hey, they just went up in price this week. I'm ready to sell. And we bought them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what type of cards are they?
Pokemon.
Pokemon. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Greninjas are like $40 a piece, and he has like 20 of them.
And that's ungraded.
Yeah. And the Umbreons up there are $80 a piece. They just went from like 30 to 80 in the last week.
Yeah.
I mean, we bought a lot of other stuff. I think, did I buy the? Yeah, I think that was last week's show where we bought the Game Boy collection.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just got all of that cleaned and tested and suggested price today, and it was just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just one more thing, I forgot to show you my 3,000 Pokemon cards that just flew all over the place. They all came in these packs, like sealed packs. I have opened.
Did you buy them off a store?
Nope.
I think those are the starter decks, and
are
it looks
they
like
starter
I think the cardboard. I think the cardboard got probably damaged, and they peeled out the boxes.
Okay.
He also had some. He has also had some promos in the picture. That he
Well, I think those would have come with the starter deck.
Okay. So they come sealed.
Yeah.
A lot of their product used to come
but
sealed.
I still should open them, right?
I wouldn't.
No?
I'd leave
No,
those
they're
sealed.
probably all the same. Jesse.
Oh no, they are different cards.
No, it's a different card on the front, but the whole deck would be the same.
Okay. All right.
So what you do is take the price of the top card. Well,
are
first
they
of all,
energy cards?
No,
there's going to be a bunch of energy. It's going to be a full deck. So there's going to be commons, rares, and energy in that.
See, I used to get my promos for running events like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think it's a mixed bag. I think you're right. There are some decks in there, the ones that have energies on top. That might just be the ones with energies on top might just be a box. A group of energies from an ETB.
Right.
Because that's the only way you could get a lot of energies. Because in packs, it's almost impossible to get energies through packs.
Right.
So that's why the people buy ETBs.
Right. Well, I'll
Energies
send
do
you
have value.
pictures, and you can tell me which ones to open and which
You
not
gotta
to.
you gotta download TCG Player.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. So because there was, I mean, again, I don't know this stuff, and I got them for so cheap. It was crazy. So there are shiny ones and all that stuff. So
we'll open that shiny one live right now. Open it up.
You want to open it live? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll
put them in the big spot.
Yeah. Shoot, I got so many here. I don't know which one I just showed you.
That one's with the shiny one on it.
Is that a shiny one?
Well, it looks like it should have foil on it, like it glows, like a foil.
Oh, okay. Nah, that it's not. All right, you guys keep on talking, and I'll find one.
All right, Emmet, did you break this dry spell from last week?
Not sort of. So I have to go look at it. This guy's been haunting me to buy his collection, but I feel bad because he's terminally ill, and it's just a hard place to negotiate from, man.
Yeah.
I just figure he's going to feel whatever number I give him is because he's desperate. He doesn't want his wife to have to deal with it. This is like his 4th time he's come to my store and said, please come up. And I'm like, all right, I'll come up and look at it. But like,
I just look
you
at
could
this
be doing him a
Emmet,
favor, dude. You could be doing
this
him a
is
favor.
This is our last service to the community and to the people who supported our community up until death.
Yeah.
It sucks, dude. It sucks. And if I was a what do they call it? Superstitious. If I was a superstitious man, I'd be like, dude, I bought too many dead people's comics. And this is kind of on that fence. But I look at it differently. This is your chance to give an offer to alleviate the problem that his wife is going to inherit.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's almost as the stewards of the industry, it's almost our responsibility at a certain point.
So he told me he has 300 signed jerseys and 150 signed baseball bats. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Yeah, you need
to and like you said before, if you don't buy it, someone is going to end up buying it at some point.
Yeah,
right? So
and
then
even
his
more
wife
so,
has to deal with it the whole time.
Right.
So.
Who's the guy that we had on 2 weeks ago from Corpus Christi?
Steven
Most Wanted
Fuentes.
Comics.
Yeah.
Steve. Yeah.
Imagine if that collection had gone to the store across the street.
That he got.
Then they would be doing the events. They would
Yeah.
be doing the service to the community. They wouldn't be selling 10 for $1 new books. You know what I'm saying? So you also have to look at it that way. I had a comic. So I had Tales of Suspense 66 and Iron Man 128 come in the store last week. And I looked them up. I showed them what they go for. I showed them the condition issues. I made them an offer. And she was so offended because she had looked on eBay and saw what 9.0s had gone for.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm going to the other place up the road, which is 30 miles away. Meanwhile, she left her phone on the counter and didn't come back for like 15, 20 minutes. Her boyfriend brought them in today. And I was like, oh, I thought she was going to sell these to the other store. And, oh, I don't know. What did you offer? I told him what I offered. He goes, I'll take that. So even, it's
with 2 books, I would probably stick by my price, but
I did.
When people bring me collections and then walk out with them and they do come back, they don't get the same price. Because
this is a good comment.
I have to go back through it
by 3 Rivers. He says, Leaving a family 30,000 comics is not a good thing. No one knows the
Right.
value like you. Sell them while you're still kicking if you can.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. That is, I tell my customers all the time that, like, I'm here when you're ready to sell them. I said, don't leave them to your family because it's just ugly.
Yep. All right, Jesse, here we go.
All right. So this is, I don't know if you guys can see.
Is that a
this,
master ball?
It's a nest ball.
Okay.
This one is Squawkabilly.
Oh, like rockabilly?
Yeah. This one is Bilbian.
That looks like a shiny.
Reverse hollow? Yeah, that's reverse
That's a
hollow.
reverse hollow.
Yep.
There should be like 2 reverse hollows, I'm thinking, or 3.
There's another one.
Yep. Another one. Oh, actually looks like it's all hollows.
Is it all hollows?
Yeah, I think the whole pack is all hollows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Is that a
Yeah, it's-
professor or something?
Okay. Go until you get a full art.
He doesn't.
I don't know
think.
if they were doing full art back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, those are all good dollar binder cards.
Oh, easy.
Every one of them.
See if anyone has a name in front of a name or an EX. There was early EXs.
Oh, wait, go back to that second gray card.
Yeah.
That
MJ's
one.
like,
Okay,
that
that's
ain't a
one of the
starter
trainers.
deck.
Yeah. Trying to
What
figure
is
out
that,
what's
Emmett? It's an all hollow deck.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll have to ask my Pokemon guys.
I need
tomorrow.
an up close picture of your
We can't see. Yeah,
of
there
the
you go.
symbol in the bottom.
You sent that
left-hand
to us in
corner.
the chat.
Yeah.
5
Oh,
years
okay, really?
old. 5 years old at that. So
Yeah.
Okay.
not too
Yeah.
shabby.
So that's just one pack.
Go to the back.
Oh,
See
that's
what's in the back.
That's going to be a home run. I would open every
Second to the
single
back.
one.
Go to the second to the back there. No,
That's
okay,
a
that's another
professor.
professor. Yep.
Yeah.
Those are all dollar cards, Jesse. You could do three
Okay.
for
See,
2.
what's that one? That's an Electrod.
Clefairy. Yeah, Electron.
Yeah. What's the number in the bottom on the bottom?
That one is.
It'll be of something.
weakness times 2. No.
No,
Oh,
no.
zero-
It'll be
zero
like a
four-
3.
Yeah, 046/185.
Are you looking it up, Emmett?
Yeah. That is reverse hollow. That's like that's a dollar card all day long.
Yep. But it's from Vivid Voltage, which is
Yeah.
a hot set right now.
There's some regular hollows in there. I saw some non-reverse
Yeah,
hollows.
Yeah.
There was
Yep.
some non-reverse. That Vivid Voltage was
Yeah, so I got
Electrod.
a total of 200 packs of these.
Yeah,
Not
and
bad.
what, like 30 to 50 cards per pack?
It's probably 50.
Yeah.
It's probably 50 card decks.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah,
But
so
that
I
didn't
got
have
that.
any energy other than special
No.
energy.
No, that's
No.
not
No,
gonna be a
most
deck.
of the packs have foil cards in front.
Yeah. Does it
So-
were they resealed? Is that somebody making their
That's
own
I
packs?
think they
No.
were resealed. No, you think
I
these
think
are
they're resealed.
I think they're
Okay, so
resealed
somebody just
too.
moved their bulk.
Yeah.
But why
think
would
they're
they? Why
resealed.
would somebody who reseals those put 30 holograms in a
They
reseal
went out
pack?
of business.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways,
Not too
I'll
shabby.
send you guys picks and all that. But yeah, I think it's 225 packs.
That's like
And-
1,000. You're gonna have 1,000 plus cards. Most of them are going to be 50 cents to $1. That's a nice return.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, it was a rare thing where a shirt when you don't do Pokemon. I go, yeah, I got 100+ packs and I need at least 25 cents a pack.
Oh.
And I stopped
So you
anything
paid
about
25
Pokemon,
cents a
dude.
pack for those for 200 packs?
Yeah. Yeah, for 225 packs. And so I said, listen, I'm not going to haggle with you if you stick at 225, 25 cents. You said 225, just charge me for 200 and I'll take them all. And that was the deal. So
Nice.
Great
and I
deal.
still got the
$50.
vintage shirt and a Diet Pepsi. So
There we
it
go.
worked out very well.
All right, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a long show. We are going to be back next week to talk everything San Diego from an industry standpoint, from a retailer standpoint. We're hoping to have a really big retailer on that's a good friend of a lot of people here. So looking forward to that. And
I will bring a pickup.
Oh
There
yeah,
we
bring
go.
a pickup so Drew can buy it off you, and then eBay.
shout out to Drew, aka Wanted Comics, in the chat right now. Thank you to everybody hanging out with us tonight. Make sure if you guys are watching this on the replay and you catch it before tomorrow night, do not miss the Wednesday night show for those exclusive drops. We'll see you guys then. Adios.
Yep.